Hey there, fellow wanderers. Welcome to the dim, dusty confines of your workshop, where the air is thick with the scent of old leather and the salty aroma of sweat lingering from a day's toil. The wooden beams above creak with quiet familiarity, their shadows stretching long over a packed dirt floor. A single candle flickers, casting its fragile glow across scattered hand tools like forgotten toys in a child's attic. Outside, the cold presses in through the cracks, while the last warmth from the hearth fades behind you. You are a shoemaker in medieval times. And this isn't a fairy tale. This is quiet work. Repetitive, honest, unforgiving. The tap-tap-tap of your awl keeps rhythm, guiding your mind through the late hours. Each stitch, a small defiance against the brittleness of your world. So, before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. In your snug, shadowy workshop, the unyielding realities of your profession greet you every morning. The wooden bench bears the scars of countless hours gluing, cutting, and shaping leather into something functional, if not beautiful. Your fingers, calloused from years of labor, know every splinter of this place intimately. The cuts beneath your fingernails sting with the omnipresence of salt residue, a testament to endless afternoons of shaping stiff hides into pliable footwear. Intriguingly enough, medieval times were a tapestry of uneven progress, and the art of shoemaking tread carefully into this uneven terrain. Every tool on your workbench has its own story, passed down through generations as technology evolved as effortlessly as molasses running uphill. Each morning, you grapple with rudimentary devices and all here. A hammer the recumbersome now, perhaps, but cherished for their craftsmanship. After all, in your world, every piece of leather holds within it the potential to become a masterwork or a mendicant's soul, depending on your touch. When the town begins to stir in the early morning haze, you occasionally catch glimpses of other tradesmen heading to their workshops, each face wearing expressions not unlike your own, resolute, marked by the promise of toil. Peddlers hawk their wares under the filtered sun, the air still foggy with the night's hushed breaths. From your small window, you watch as the day rolls over your village, like an ancient tide, delivering the various needs and wants for you to fulfill. Outside these walls, the balance of society rests on the leather soles walking these cobblestone streets. Irony finds a home in your awareness that as a maker of shoes, once a humble servant to necessity, your work tangentially supports the clattering class structure of your world. The aristocrats with their silken slippers strut through mud-slick markets with little regard for those longing to follow in their fanciful footsteps. Yet, whether garbed in stitched finery or binding wraps of poverty, everyone eventually stands where the cobbler holds sway. Historians still argue whether the societal hierarchies were as stringent as the sumptuary laws implied. Did the shades of brown you were allowed to fashion for the peasantry truly alter the pecking order, or was it all dictated by the whims and whispers of power as it echoed through time? Ambiguous and enigmatic, the tangled dance of law and tradition haunts your every stitch, satirical in its subtle undulations of rigid convention. You listen to the subtle symphony of your streeter rhythmic call, and responsive cartwheels, merchant calls, and distant shoemakers' hammers striking in harmony. It's not glamorous, and it rarely is easy, but it's your world. Each hammer strikes a note in the orchestra, a melodious symphony of progress and prowess. Amidst the backdrop of uncertainty, there is solace in knowing the shoes you craft will outlast your hands, whispering tales of arches and avenues trodden long after the sun has set beyond your horizon. They carry the memory of each day, each struggle, tied with twine and sinew into a footprint marking its presence in the dust. Here, in this shadowy sanctuary, each breath feels purposeful. There is a curious comfort in the smell of leather and the scratch of a needle through toughened Haidea tapestry of survival woven daily. You find delight in the calm familiarity of your workplace, an oasis amongst the chaos of life, proving that even in the dim glow of obscurity, passion kindles radiance. As dusk falls and the world outside shifts tenfold from morning's hopes to evening's tapering sighs, you stand amidst your creations. Shoes, queued like soldiers facing the banquet of history, stand eager to conquer the elements and time's twisting trails. It is here, in these seemingly mundane moments of toil, where you find your footing, one stitch at a time, in a world that oft forgets the labourers gluing its aspirations together. Yet with each trodden sole, society's tapestry threads a little tighter. That's your craft, your legacy whispered song of the shoemaker. As you close your eyes momentarily, inviting the dark in to cradle your weary spirit, you remind yourself that another day of cobbling history awaits. In your hands, the tools of the trade primitive and worn become extensions of your will, albeit with the occasional rebellion requiring a dodge reflex that rivals a jousting knight. Your calloused fingertips feel every notch and dent, yet you wield them with the dexterity of a painter gracing canvas with life. Before sunrise, with the world still cloaked in the velvet of night, you gather your instruments, considering them stalwart companions rather than lifeless implements. Picture your awl, a spike tipped in iron, eager to pierce leather with a subtle ferocity. It's a simple tool, much like a pencil to a medieval scribe, yet with it, you've written countless tales onto the souls of your village. The hammer, though modest in stature, echoes with authority in each tupper staccato heralding progress within your work. As the thin light of dawn tiptoes across your bench, these beloved tools await your touch, their hardened surfaces yearning for the familiar imprint of your palm. With all the technological advances now, what luxuries await? Yet here, your medieval spirit knows the true measure of mastery is not in the gadgetry, but in the practitioner who knows their trust and trickery. Right about now, you might fancy if these instruments were reincarnated in modern cuisine, they'd be the fork that humorously doubles as a weapon during family dinners, the kind of Spartan economy that transcends time. Historians still puzzle over the origins of some of these tools, like early forms of the sewing needle. Was it adapted from a far-off land by a travelling merchant, or did it evolve from a humble fishing hook, gliding the warp and weft of imagination and ingenuity? Their origins, as murky as the town well some days, whispers through time, inviting conjecture over even the most silent evenings. As you labour beneath the murmur of the cracking rafters, each strategic incision marks your journey from apprentice to master craftsman. The first few scars inked into your workbench were not earned lightly. They're reminders of those early days fumbling with a clumsy proficiency, each failure chiselled into your apprenticeship's rapid ascent. In those fumbling early days, the gauge of a task well done was shadowed by your master's stern gaze, who, more often than not, carried a scornful silence. At the start, you may have fashioned shoes resembling more an inquisitive dog's chew toy than the refined footwear of today. Yet, that perspicacious eye of your master taught you the subtleties of just how to pull laces tight and clip leather with an artistry often lacking in the rougher trades. The learning curve was steeper silhouette limned against the firelight, lessons stamped into the very soles in palm-tanned hide. The challenges of your craft stretch beyond the merely mechanical, dancing into the realm of aesthetic discernment. Open debates still flutter through flickering minds of scholars were medieval craftsmen, artists, or mere tradesmen cloaked in rhetoric. Within the confines of your workshop, however, you deftly navigate this contentious boundary, blending utility with artistry, much like a weaver deciding which strands to pull taut and which to let drape lazily. Occasionally, there are moments when the village children, faces bright with wonder and probably a little snot, peer into your workspace, eyes wide as they watch the dance of tool against hide. You entertain them briefly, indulging their rapt attention with tales of shoes made for knights and pilgrims alike, weaving fact with just enough embellishment to tuck them back into bed with dreams of adventures far beyond their sandbox confines. The bench creaks under the weight of familiarity, and though it offers neither comfort nor elegance, it becomes an anchor in the rush of your tasker-cherished presence amid the day's trials. As shadows play across the floor, you rest your tools for a brief respite, allowing the woven tales and storied reflections a moment to steep in the day's light that has now reached full stride across your room. You return each tool to its place with an almost reverent precision, laying them out carefully, a sacred choreography rehearsed with quiet grace. Each placement a testament to its journey, as your slime-covered apprentice fingers wrangled them into submission, shaping not just leather, but spirit as well. Your workshop becomes a haven of potential, each tool ready to spring into action to fill the void of dreams and souls alike. A thin rivulet of peace trickles into the room as your hands unknot, placing the day's toil aside for a fleeting pause. You breathe deeply of the familiar air of banquet, seasoned with the scent of smoke and hides. In these moments of calm, you imagine the stories your tools would tell if they could speak, the whispered strategies of overcome challenges, the tribulations of craftsmanship honed amidst rustic camaraderie. But the day beckons once more, and as you pick up your awl, your fingers tighten around its handle, the familiar weight, a comfortable burden. There's a raw, unvarnished beauty in shaping something tangible from the ghosts of an idea. These tools, primitive as they may be, are the alchemy through which you transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, the soil from which professionalism and prominence flower, even in a world intent on survival alone. You smiler, was it a smirk? And continue, your hands guided by instinct into the burgeoning canvas of new shoes, artfully pulling every sinew taut as you embrace the art of division between history's pavestones. Don't you find it a tad quaint that we still refer to mundane human challenges as finding one's footing? Ah, medieval life, how charming you were in your peculiar wisdom. Ah, leather, the sine qua non of shoemaking and your steadfast ally, in a world where sturdy footwear often spells the difference between success and struggle. As you survey your modest stack of hides, you reflect on the journey each piece has undertaken before finding itself on your workbench, transformed from bovine attire to the potential covering of weary feet. The touch of leather is unmistakable its surface, a mosaic of rugged patches and subtle marks, carrying with it the whispers of grasses and fields. You learn quickly in this trade that procuring quality leather is an art unto itself, fraught with missteps and reliant upon relationships forged at bustling markets. Your trips begin at the crack of dawn, when mist still clings to the edges of cobbled paths. En route to the bustling square, where you seek out the most seasoned tanners, every step is accompanied by the distant sound of rustling leaves and murmured barters. Navigating the market is like traversing a chessboard, each stall a calculated move, and each vendor familiar with your specific needs. The smell is overpowering, a heady mix of livestock and spices, blending with the acrid tang of ammonia wafting from the tanning pits. Here, authenticity is debated not with words, but with the reassuring heft of leather in your hand and the subtle pliancy that speaks of a hide well cured. Historians often debate whether tanners were seen as mere merchants of the unsightly or as crucial artisans within the medieval society. But as you watch an old tanner deftly examine his stock with a scrutinizing eye, you know his trade bears an importance both overlooked and celebrated in equal measure. Leather preparation is no simple affair, embroiled as it is in a ritual that approaches primitive science. Still sticky and pungent from the tanning process, every layer of the hide is a reminder of the physicality inherent in your profession. Mention odor lightly to the unfamiliar nowadays. They'd conjure up florals and breezes, but to you, it speaks of tannins and limeth building blocks of elasticity and endurance. Far from the domain of cowboys with their 10-gallon hats, this cascade of leather represents time itself, where the luxuries of today originated as trials for survival. You wrest great satisfaction from selecting the right hide, its thickness matched to purpose, its flaws charted with care against your pattern in a dance of function versus whim. Working with leather requires both precision and intuition, your hands guiding every cut with conscious patience. The loaf cutter, a simple wooden blade with an iron heart, slides through the hide in a single motion, rhythmically shaving flesh and imperfections shy of the stitched edge, leaving behind smoothness unmarred. You can almost hear an invisible audience murmuring accolades at a performance well executed, their applause resounding in the swift, firm snip of your shears. Even as you labor over the latest recruit into your shoemaking legion, a playful humor surfaces, taking familial jabs at your earnest work like a jovial sibling. Each passing thought a jest shared between you, the master, and the masterpiece a shared indulgence in mirth, while your focus remains unwavering. The air is tight with humidity, the metallic zing of effort swimming alongside minuscule water droplets that etch streaks of moisture into the lining of your brow. Beads of sweat claim dominion along your shirt collar, forming tiny rivulets that tickle as they trickle into oblivion. In the subdued shuffle of your tasks, you croon a humming melody, carrying notes like the swallows outside cradling the early summer breeze. Those who speak with certainty of progress might call this age unsophisticated, the mind unwieldy and bereft of industries modernized, but with each unique shoe, as testimony to the craftsmanship and care exacted, you know instinctively that some things cannot be hurried nor rushed. Respect for your materials is implicit. Your kinship with leather hulia wolfish, respect uniquely bound across lines of artisanship, shared in that cosmic language of sense and sound. Meanwhile, the tacit narratives unfolding behind each stitch hint at the world's ceaseless rhythm, each shoe weaving itself into the fabric of countless lives, traipsed in times long past. The memory of passages trodden by each footstep resides in the stitched seams, a poetic allusion to the mileage your handiwork will one day accrue. Upon the completion of this section of your project, you doff your cap in naive bravado as if thanking the leathery spirits whose journey to your atelier has now set in motion brisk adventure. Journeymen hold ceremonies more complex than weddings in a way that leaves even seasoned scholars slightly baffled. After all, is it not twice-told tales that linger longest, telling stories that play in looped continuity in the annals of memory? For now, though, you fall back into rhythm, your focus renewed in every weighted step-even, as the sun dips its warm kisses behind sheltering eaves, marking the measured pace of another routine's end. These small victories, these quiet triumphs over leather untamed, bear you aloft and cheerful, and as you finally lay down rawhide and tools, the satisfaction murmurs under your breath, a contented witness to another day marked out as survivorship upon the canvas of history. The pungent aroma of ammonia and bark hangs low over the village as you approach the tanning pits, those dismal hollows where raw hides transform through processes as murky and layered as any medieval legend. You step gingerly through the mud, a dance with inevitability as the path winds toward the open courtyards. Here, the air is thicker, saturated with odors both familiar and foreign, hugging the senses in an embrace as fierce as a mother's love or a bear trap. Tanning leather is no endeavor for the faint-hearted. It is a blend of chemistry and Keo-san alchemist's dream that once filled cauldrons with effluence unwanted elsewhere. Tanners are a breed apart, coated in the prestige of grit and disregard from olfactory pursuits. Their artistry holds the key to your craft, offering hides resilient and tannins tempered, each piece destined to cradle the souls dancing across Earth's stage. Here lies the open secret of their trade. Urine and bark, ensconced together in a loving swirl of natural chemical reactions. Urine softens hides under the gentle insistence of potassium contents, while the oak bark introduces tannins that settle like a pleasant memory upon the leather, ensuring durability and strength. It's debatable if this divine stench is a gift or punishment from on high, but one thing is unwavering: your craft revolves around these transformative concoctions. Historians still argue whether the laborious methods of tanning were socially stigmatized or revered as sacred alchemy. While some texts suggest tanners, like the distant echoes of drummers, were isolated from village life, others speak of their work as highly valued, offered protection under edicts, and occasionally even patronage. You, observing from the sidelines, perceive them as kin, whose hands pluck something robust from the detritus of necessity. Your own process is inextricably linked to their sewn cog in the grand machinery of medieval life, wherein the cobbler relies on the tanner as surely as shadows rely on light. You marvel slightly at the irony that clean, comfortable shoes sprout from such the grimy underbelly of existence. You'd chuckle at the cosmic joke, if not for the pervasive scent that accompanies every visit to the pit. Amidst the tumult of raw sensation, you handpick the moments, those studied snippets of knowledge, when flushed hides climb from quagmires, flexing beneath the hands that press, each piece inspected and judged by its grit to withstand. Under the watchful eye of seasoned tanners, work thrives not within comforts but amidst challenges. Theirs is a life unshackled by expectations beyond the raw intensity of the craft. Your negotiations are sincere, touched with that same irony, a nod to acknowledged camaraderie. For when you return to your workshop later, mumbling a shadowed thank you into the afternoon gloom, it's with prized possession in hand, the coveted result of form and flair intertwined. As you walk back, the day's work settles across your shoulders, neither heavy nor light, destined to guide you homeward. The leather, troves once submerged in mysterious pits, now enjoys an audience with potential. If leather were a child, you'd be its shepherd, guiding it firmly toward its destiny beneath the hammer's countenance, stretching dreams across a once-ripped canvas. In a world where stories abound, you muse upon the quirks of those often overlooked, tapping into that quiet acceptance that nudges ingenuity forward, even as the rest of society sleeps. As dusk courts the horizon, its purple hand drawing you into night's embrace, you feel satisfaction well earned through the warmth and sinew shared between like spirits. The task before you, transforming hide into footwear, is laborious, reminding you that perfection is the province of patience rather than prowess alone. As your tools resume their rhythm, the softening leather under deft fingers sounds almost conciliatory. Even amidst the routine pattern of tedious mastery, humor sprinkles light on what drudgery could mask. Reflecting on how each shoe forms anew from these primeval efforts, you find a smile playing on your lips, accompanied by chuckles, layered through memory's lens. Has there ever been such grandeur in conquering the elements known? Will the historians of your future hold solemn counsel over? It could very well be. Footwear, admittedly paltry in the grand scheme, marks its journey proudly, cobbling trace histories together one step at a time. The day winds lazily toward its close, shadows lengthening as Old Soul drapes his farewell over fields. The hearth runs dry, and with your day's work yearning for completion, the anticipation courses through you with the promise of accomplishment. Thus, you fall back into your rhythm. Steady are your hands moving over careful grooves, while each stitch surrenders quietly to your craft. As you retire for the night, the room embraces the day's storious treasured repose, he tendered in safety, to that place where dreams are shaped in evening's glow. Those cobbled beginnings whisper softly now. In their wake, you stand affectionately in the shade of night's endand, tomorrow's auspicious beginnings. And so, the tanning paves another thread in this ongoing journey. And while many ancient questions remain unsettled, you embrace the quirks that accompany each discovery, eager to face tomorrow's stitch anew, beneath the light of adventuring sun. Imagine yourself just a boy, an ambitious soul thrust into the labyrinth of medieval society. Your first steps toward becoming a shoemaker start on the uneven cobblestones leading to a master craftsman's workshop. The morning sun fractures into myriad hues as it filters through ancient stone, casting a quilt of daylight upon the worn path you're set to traverse in earnest. In those days of wide-eyed wonder, the workshop loomed strangely promising, a realm of potential framed by shadows. Becoming an apprentice is a rite of passage true as any, a delicate balancing act between the tyranny of chores and the thrill of learning the elaborate dance of the shoemaker. Upon first entry, your senses are ignited by the raw smell of leather and sawdust, a caustic perfume that forms the backdrop to your immediate introduction to laborious tasks and hope bubbling beneath the surface. The unfamiliar clang of tools echoes through the confined space, mingling with your persistent eagerness to prove oneself amidst the tapestry of labor. Your initial months pass in a blur, colored by humility and harsh lessons. Under the scrutiny of your master, every mistake is magnified, every success couched in shadow. Yet each reprimand lashes at your youthful pride, shaping discipline and heralding the emergence of tenacity stronger than the hide you meticulously learn to manipulate. Apprenticeships of this era are riddled with trials, akin to enduring frostbite. In summer, attire they sting, they endure, but they forge resilience. Indeed, historians still argue whether such systems were effective in cultivating true craftsmen or simply churning out rote workers for an ever-hungry market. This was a world built upon the hushed endurance of traditional realm, where you exist alongside hopes crudely sewn into the seams between expectation and ambition. Despite the often unforgiving realm of apprenticeship, daily grinds graft patience into your spirit as naturally as the sun roams its celestial circuit. Your tasks begin with humble chores, like organizing tools and sweeping floors where dust blooms between grooved planks like a nomad's desert transport. Slowly, these give way to opportunities. Small victories as you piece together knowledge the same way you'll one day piece together the patterned leather for a shoe's upper. A particularly memorable challenger knot, devoid of humor, arises when your task of resizing foot molds perplexes you beyond measure. Amid the clay and wooden remnants of failed attempts, you unintentionally create something resembling an abstract sculpture rather than a substitute for feet. Your master, though stern, indulges a guarded chuckle before imparting wisdom to realign your efforts. The experience lends another intangible stitch to the fabric of your burgeoning craftsmanship. Life is not without its tender moments either, though they often appear disguised beneath layers of duty and craft. In distant recesses of twilight, when the day's tasks leave fatigue tangled in sinews past spent, your world narrows to light steps across creaking boards. A smile or a whispered tale from a fellow apprentice eases the burden of another grueling day, cradling stories like secrets swapped beneath shadowed eaves of lampist nightfall. These uncommon bonds forged between apprentices over shared frustrations and occasional victories promise an odd camaraderie. Young though you are, you're initiated into the strange community of craftsmen, an heir to knowledge that has stamped its legacy into time's sands. Through the passage of months, your initiation deepens until the secrets of the trade unravel gracefully beneath your tender touch. Leather's hidden naturites, yielding timbre and fluid pliancy, reveals itself, nudging you toward a dawning understanding of the intricate relationships between material, tool, and skilled hand. The leather sings under the touch of your needle, a muted sonnet of mastery, penned carefully across its lucrative tapestry. Outside the workshop, seasons deepen their song upon the landscape. Autumn's rustling mantle gives way to winter's frostbitten whisper, and so the cycle continues. The heart of the village thrums its muted rhythm, a perpetual reminder that life goes on while you remain cradled in the crucible of practice and intent. Within this cocoon, your talents build on foundations past, birthing nascent craftsmen, even as the apprentice within learns to stride confidently. And then there comes a pivotal moment, one that seems to unfold in timeless gracia creation, shaped entirely by your hands. It stands alone upon a worn pedestal, though, let's be honest, it's actually just the workbencher product, not merely of effort but spirit woven into every seam. Your fellow apprentices gather, their faces a tapestry of encouragement, their nods silent encouragement, bolstering your weary spirit like a gentle wave. The master approaches, a figure both guileless and grave, his gaze studying each angle, as if attempting to decipher the very notes of your soul wrought solid beneath his tutelage. A nod, perhaps perfunctory, precedes his soft-spoken approval accolades delivered without embellishment, but whose echo is no less glorious for its simplicity. In that moment, the boy winding through medieval trials has grown, that figure embracing silhouette marked anew as cobbler, apprentice no longer. Imagination bounds beyond four walls, whispering timeless messages through each crafted shoe, conveying tales told in footfalls and silence alike. Thus, Sunday mornings open wide upon new challenges shaded in sunlight's gentle passage. You lift leather once more in eager grace. For now the cobbler practices not simply what is taught, but what his soul embraces. Another stitch, a footnote penned by Shoemaker keenly born. Threads of time stretch endlessly, spinning into midnight, and the measured art endures. You find yourself seated on a low wooden stool, the bench sprawling before you like an ancient beast, awaiting transformation under your careful touch. Heels and soles, the very foundation of your craft, lie scattered across the hardened surface, each piece a puzzle within the artistry of shoemaking. These components are not just mere necessities, they are the load-bearers of ambitions, of journeys yet untaken, and of lifetime footprints destined for connection with the earth. Firstly, the sole literal and figurative bedrock of every shoe. It's crafted from thick leather, rugged and primeval, breathing hints of forest and fauna with each touch. You grasp the material's edge and feel the thickness flex beneath your fingers, a resonant reminder of natural resilience. Transforming this unyielding substance into something both sturdy and supple is no mere task. It's a dance of coaxing compromise. The sole's dual role is both protector and guide, carrying wearers across terrains from cobblestones to churning fields. You cut each piece with precision, the loaf cutter gliding through as effortlessly as a gull upon updrafts. As your blade meets resistance, there's a dialogue of texture and tension, a conversation as old as time itself, a whisper of the ages carried in each slice. Shoemaking finds its true voice in the pairing of heels with soles. The heel, though often underestimated, commands its own space in the narrative of the shoe. Its curvature and lift speak to the geometry of movement, dictating style and security. As you pare and carve to ensure the perfect fit, you yield to the transformational processes shaped by countless generations of craftspeople. A remarkable slice of humour finds footing here as you ponder the medieval fascination with Scotch Solica. Curious invention that vaguely reminds one of medieval disco platforms, albeit less dance-inclined and more structurally grounded. Still, should you find yourself time-travelling to a medieval tavern, these designs offer an edge, literally, in the lively shuffle of beer and song. In your mind's eye, each shoe becomes a map, traceable not by roads, but by the contours of human endurance and aspirations, an atlas etched in leather. Every stitch draws pathways not just through life, but a history preserved as intricately as the folds of a tapestry. An ancient tale suggests that the shoe's shape could divine all manner of life's quirks for its wearer, and there's a peculiar delight in imagining every piece telling fables of flounders turned fishermen, or boots that became boats when rains came. The rhythm of creation steadies you. The hammer's reassuring percussion keeps time with the era-spun stories tucked away in your mind of knights who charged into fame, of maidens who danced princess-like at village swoons. All who donned footwear drew strength from the undergirding foundations crafted within these walls, while their footsteps sketched purpose across lands unknown. Historians still debate which shoemaking techniques originated from where, a dance of academia that tries to discern whether toe shapes distinguished regions or simply revealed itinerant cobblers' footprints across continents. Imagine the joy in leaving such breadcrumbs for future inquisitors who see your soles as key to unlocking ancient mysteries. Proving that footwear is much more than leather's embrace it is an imprint upon history's unfolding narrative. For each shoe you craft, you must balance artistry with functionality, a fine line of stitches binding worlds. You hear the gentle creak of leather bending to your will, yielding beneath skilled hands. At moments, though, the task takes on a life of its own, and heels collapse hilariously beneath the weight of an unanticipated afternoon. For now, they await another's tale. Even with the care of centuries, humour finds its way into the workbench's meditative composition. Cobblers' thumbprints, cast onto stubborn leather, amusingly reshape it in unforeseen ways. These imperfections add character, lending quirkiness to practicality. A smile blossoms, a knowing nod to the shoes of jesters whose antics inspire little deviations, with the same aplomb as a well-sculpted heel providing exceptional balance. As candles burn low, their dwindling tallow hinting at the close of day, your remaining hours flicker gently under the advancing night. Nonetheless, by completing this day's work, the mastery of crafting heels and soles, a cathartic satisfaction deepens. Through their mismatched dance, they become bearers of journeys waiting across shadowed dawns, soon to unfurl beneath adventurous skies. The bench is left a place of salutations whispered among toes and tongues, intertwined the shoe's language of actuality and aspiration, woven by your care. These gifts, upon future task, shall carry others hand in hand toward their new beginnings over soil and sea alike. And so, with each stitch, you nudge footwear away from platform to practical, a gentle, urging toward reality's steadfast shores. In this quiet reflection, the cobbler finds both humour and solace, and the story continues beneath wearer's unending steps. In the dance of creation, both sticky and graceful, whispers of purpose linger wherever leather roams. In the world of medieval crafts, the shoemaker's station is often dictated not just by skill, but also by the machinations of guilds, the steely hand that shapes, guards, and sometimes stifles your trade. As a shoemaker striving to navigate these intricate networks, you must balance dutiful conformity with the constant pressure to excel within the constraints of tradition. Picture yourself standing within the hallowed halls of the Cobblers' Guild, a bastion both revered and feared by all who dare to craft beneath its banner. The air is thick with the grave importance of heritage, every corner adorned with patterns etched in wood, much like the leather you mold with practiced precision. Here, ancient rules mingle with the fresh ardor of new members, weaving a complex tapestry of obeisance and opportunity. Guilds generally operate as the custodians, the keepers of knowledge passed down through generations. They are the arbiters of quality, setting the standards for shoemakers who seek to etch their name into society's footnotes. Yet these same guilds can feel like mighty custodians, their relics burdened with expectations, refracting the light of creativity into narrow beams. Under the guild's watchful eye, you come to understand that the price of admission is both preservation of their storied craft and a relentless dedication to their regulations. Within this crucible, each craftsman is cultivated, expected to adhere to strict codes and replicate established methods, safeguard against the creeping influence of innovation, as unsettling as an unexpected burst of hail on a midsummer's day. Historians still argue whether these guilds truly fostered craftsmanship by shepherding raw talent, or instead stilted innovation beneath layers of tradition heavier than your thickest leather soles. Yet as you take your place among them, you find companionship in the intelligible camaraderie present among fellow craftsmen. The shared vocabulary spoken, hammered, stitched bridges, gaps of age and experience. Each guild meeting carries the charming blend of tradition and hope as paths converge toward excellence. Despite the guild's policing gaze, agreement with standards is often tweaked to the humor of the circumstance. There are countless tales of inventive shoemakers who manage to sidestep strict stipulations with a flick of creativity, cementing the guild meetings as breeding grounds for synchronous celebration and witty subversion, the shoemaker's tightrope, balancing antics against obligation. Each year brings the guild's pageantry, a cross between communal feast and judgment day. Here, workshops fling open their doors, revealing the craftsman's hard-earned wares. The same air, brushing the shores of artistry, propels approval, responsibility, and the occasional scandal along its course. Whether by candlelit nooks or by the anvil's flicker, this community adds flavor to an otherwise solitary craft. Your own creations are no different, expressions marked by the marriage of tradition with stabs at creativity. It's not just the perfect point on a toe, nor the swooping elegance of an arch. It's those idiosyncratic flourishes, like tiny loops, sprinkling personality where structure craves harmony, that spark life into your craft. Notably, guilds provide more than mere structure or network, they become earnest educators within their communities. Through formal gatherings, they present unyielding knowledge like eager instructors, with elbows patchwork worn, doling out tips and trickser gilding lights, as they rather cheekily refer to it amongst themselves. For the shoemaker, the guild's reliance on a fair and consistent supply of materials cultivates a mutually respectful partnership with tanners and other artisans. Bonds crafted over ale and anvil transform into vital lifelines when resources thin, securing trade routes sometimes more artfully debated than land disputes. It's a phenomenon where mutual bounds reinforce strength, a dance of leather and trust, softened by acknowledgement. Within the guild circle, your journey as a shoemaker deepens, yet remnants of earlier aspirations persist. Every creation represents not just individual skill, but centuries of worn wisdom melded into the present reality of fashion and function. Effectively navigating such riddles, you establish your unique heritage while respecting those who safeguarded the path beneath travelers' feet. Your shoes become more than functional objects. They carry stories of lineage, instinctive nods to ambitions loomed large, yet realized sufficiently. As you conclude another guild meeting, pooling fatigue with achievement, the pervasive sense is one of belonging. United by history's embrace, the fraternity of shoemakers stretches across time, unshakable as the very leather you each shape day by day. The next morning, with the sun casting its golden trail anew, the guild emerges like a beacon amid the clattering hum of industry. Its echoes, whispered among the towers of leather stacks, remain a companion in the journey of crafting journeys. Here, creativity mingles with heritage, a duet that drives you back toward your workbench tools at the ready for both the familiar path and the unforeseen challenges ahead. And so, as you return to your workshop, the symphony of shoemaking entwines itself with history's rolling tide, carrying you forward a steady presence, resilient in the march toward crafting legacy, measured one step at a time. As dawn breaks, casting a halo of light across the familiar horizon, you prepare yourself for the open road, a shoemaker whose journey often extends beyond the familiar confines of a workshop. The medieval world is one of dynamic movement, and as an itinerant shoemaker, you're given the opportunity to thread your craft together with the threads of adventure. You secure your toolkeeper faithful satchel containing your prized leather, working instruments eager to embrace the challenge of new landscapes. The roads ahead are untamed, cobblestones jostling beneath your feet like errant thoughts seeking resolution. Much like your predisposition for adventure, these routes are as timeless as the skies arching above, an invitation to explore beyond the limitations of known territory. In a way, there's a certain excitement to the itinerant lifestyle, as if each journey is a blank page awaiting your ink. Every village you visit pulsates with curiosity, each face familiar yet strange, wearing its own wrinkles and smiles. They peer at you with mild fascination, and not a little envious the shoemaker, not a shadowy wanderer, spinning tales gathered at each temporary doorstep. Setting up near marketplaces and fairs, you quickly become a focal point, the clang of your hammer echoing across the bustling square. There's that comfortable blend of anonymity and connection as the marketplace's heartbeat syncs with your own, customers lining up eagerly, often trading succulent pieces of rural gossip in exchange for the repair of well-worn footwear. Historians still argue whether medieval fairs were as pivotal socially as they were economically. Did they serve as true centers of culture, or were they more akin to the modern-day tourist trap-the-markets of noisy revelry over substantive encounter? To you, the fair offers moments where commerce mingles companionably with camaraderie, and a day's work embraces both queen and beggar alike, with shoes uniformly suited for both. There are, of course, the familiar challenges of the road, the relentless unpredictability of weather, the unforeseen expense, when a potential customer fails to appreciate the finer arts of shoemaking over a questionable pie. Yet amidst the hurdles is the joyous freedom of mobility that frames your view. A shoemaker on the move is one who shares the responsibility of untangling fate's diverse threads, stitching sunlit paths parallel with each other's fortune. While some nights call for a silent supper beneath the aching vastness of stars, other evenings offer the raucous warmth of a tavern aglow with firelight and stories. It's here that your tales of far-off campaigns intermingle with the laughter of newfound companions, where the clinking of mugs offers a refreshing laughter to the weight of your travel pack. Every now and again you must traverse treacherous trails lined with lush forests, paths occasionally befouled by mud, and brambler nature's mirthful reminders of who truly holds sway. Whether by foot or cunningly hitched ride, you negotiate these routes as a sailor navigates uncertain waters, filled with caution and wonder. Your resolute sparring with nature's caprices at times steers you toward unexpected discoveries. Stumble upon a charming village or stumble, thence fine. Fingered cobbler does not tread tales, bound equally in desire as need. Historian and a hermit's heart share the cobbler's indulgence in these wayward expeditions, stitching stories within a soul adorned with adventure. The rewards are plenty. Each successful day's labor brings with it not only monetary gains and sustenance, but curious mementos from appreciative patrons' handcrafted trinkets, bundles of herbs, or even the rare hearty embrace. In every exchanged smile hides a touchstone reminding you that kinship spans further than stationary roots. At the day's dwindled edge, as the shadows lengthen across fields and forests, you pause alongside a riverbank. Here, the water babbles as if sharing confidences with the wind, and the sky above, a dusky quilt layered with the memories of your travels. The cool flow stirs hope into your aching but enlivened spirit, and you realize that beneath the roving path lies not only an arduous undertaking, but also intrepid blessings. Ultimately, the road leads back to the familiarity of home, both secretive yearning and anchor in your mind. Retreating laughter and lovesick urgings echo softly across your days, at once eager and somber, and you know that today's warm boots lent to tired feet will hear these stories echo in gloom-kissed hearths. And so, with shoes tied and laces firm, you thrill once more with kinship, for the shoemaking way an intricate ballet where feet play in time to the rustling dance of a cobbler's imagination. Each soul you mold steadfast wayfarers themselves, centers unto the dusty cradles of realms untouched by wear, awaiting courage anew. As you thread tomorrow's path, there exists subtle assurance within every pair of shoes. They bear a testament to your journey not only across land, but also through the strength of spirit, repeatedly unfurling upon the fabric of fellowship. Much like the faithful Calliope, the shoemaker wanders true, his wisdom tenderly laced own soul in print, the other poised for flight. Village life in the medieval world is a tapestry woven with intimacy and occasional discord, where the shadows cast by small, bustling streets conceal a teeming jungle of commerce and competition. As a shoemaker here, you're not alone in plying your trade there. Are others just like you, with their own skills and peculiar styles, crafting shoes under similar folds of smoke and sun? Every day unfolds a silent battle for attention and patronage as you and your fellow craftsmen work side by side. The air between your shops is charged with a mixture of camaraderie and rivalry, with each sound of leather being cut or hammered, echoing the unspoken question: who among you will fashion the finest footwear? It's an unceremoniously complex ballet partnership, dancing with opposition as you seek to carve out your niche in this tightly interwoven community. Historians still argue about the extent of competition between craftspeople in smaller villages. Was it a friendly rivalry akin to a simple game of chance? Or did it evolve into cutthroat economics where shoemakers gentled customers, only to ensnare them with laces of bargaining? You recognize this mix of kindness and shrewdness in every exchange, where the price of success is as unpredictable as the patterns stitched into each crafted soul. With every passing day, you engage in this intricate dance of relationships. Beth, from the shop across the way, is known for her robust hunting boots, each a sturdy testament to the demands placed by the surrounding forest. Meanwhile, across the bustling square, old Tom churns out slippers that cradle the foot like a mother's gentle embrace, soft as whispers and sought after by the village's elders. To set yourself apart, you imbue your work with a meticulous touche juxtaposition between creativity and durability. Perhaps your eco-friendly initiative in utilizing leftover material earns the cherry farmer's praise, or your clever color patterns that mirror the village banner capture a knight's interest. Such subtleties don't even break the bank, but ensure your shoes hold stories far beyond initial investment. In the warmth of midday sun, you exchange solutions and trade tips with fellow cobblers, the banter, equal parts camaraderie and jest. These moments are shared blessings, given freely while ticking hands and diligent heels keep time with the earth's rhythms. The resulting cacophony is a dialogue nurtured through shared experience, a camaraderie like mismatched leather patches bonded to form a new and unexpected unity. The lighter moments punctuate the routine of shoemaking, little rivalries giving birth to unexpected opportunities for humor. You laugh over your basest creation's cliché cross-breeches, more akin to wearable jokes than usable peace offerings, while the guild smiles approvingly. Whatever mockery might linger amongst cracks of vanishing firelight, it stands testament to the lightness that accompanies tacit shared endeavors, even beneath self-created pressure. Yet this competitive spirit doesn't always foster harmony. Occasionally, whispers of envy slither through the marketplace, graying the edges of your world. Somewhere in the somber corridors of human experience, someone quietly urges petty grievances to rise, remarking on fur and leather soaked beyond repair, or stitching that splits without warning. The rumors, laced within tongues of shadow, beckon dispute like tempests lurking beneath seas of shimmering, calm-weaving fissures, where unity once stood firm. In such times, you remind yourself of the essential elements in staunch friendships among craftsmen, a firm balance of connection and independence. And so there are days provoked by these shadows, drives filled with frantic worry, yet your survival pivots ideally on your resilience and creativity. The workday winds towards evening, with markets slowly emptying, and vendors packing away their wares while shopkeepers share cordial glances. You lock up your desires and dreams housed beneath a humble roof, where the tally engenders new patterns to explore and lessons to integrate. Stifling your yawns, the knowledge that tomorrow harbors challenge is tempered by strength, lent through minds joined in subtle unity, inspiring innovation, worn into lifelong bearing souls. As the night cloaks the village in twilight's embrace, lanterns flicker along narrow lanes, their light casting warmth over a community bound together, yet laced with invisible bonds of rivalry. These gentle tensions underpin the pulse of medieval life, drawing out both adversity and alliance. As you rest your weary head, the echoes of soft footfalls linger like a lullaby, subtle reminder of the shoes you've made, weaving their paths through yards of unity and contention as day breaks anew. In this delicate balance of competition, your craft truly has room to flourish. Your heart knows the foresight and focus shared not just among cobblers, but amongst kindred spirits laced together by dreams of more than gold. Through every challenge faced, the echo of laughter and pride arise from every shared venturia, testament to the rich tapestry of village life, where shoemakers ply their ancient trade boldly, yet with the reverence of a knotted yarn spun from hope, leisure, and camaraderie. Each morning, the village awakes to a bustling choreography, the air buzzing with chatter and clatter as market stalls open and tradespeople hunch over their wares. As a shoemaker, your livelihood is intently tethered to the whims and wishes of the customers who traipse through the square to your humble entrance. In this medieval dance of commerce, the customer truly is king, wielding tremendous sway over your craft and conscience. From the child skipping into your shop to admire the craftsmanship with innocent enthusiasm, to the fussy lord demanding perfection and distinction in every seam, customers possess a wide spectrum of desires, their engagement as varied as the shoes you craft. It's not all that different from playing host in a medieval theatre, where each interaction is a performance rehearsed and improvised between buyer and artisan. Your interactions begin with the faint aroma of leather and polish wafting gently through the air, drawing customers closer like the mellow comfort of home. As they run their hands over supple leather or examine nails driven with painstaking precision, a routine dialogue ensues, shaped partially by style and strategia, blend of salesmanship and subtle persuasion. Historians still argue whether the jeers of demanding patrons and the more cordial clientele of history truly dictated the terms of economic survival for medieval artisans. Was personal rapport, perhaps, more influential than the commands of market forces? The truth, as any cobbler with just a few, grey hairs might tell you, snakes somewhere betwixt necessity and report the labour market's timeless currency. You observe that customers express their desires not just verbally, but through the language of gesture and demeanour. One moment you're catering to a flamboyant courtier seeking boots that whisper elegance with every step, and the next you're hand-riveting sturdy soles for a farmer who values practicality over panache. A twitch of the nose hints at dissatisfaction, while an approving nod confirms trust in your skills. Humour finds its way into the mix show, could it not? Recall the now infamous incident where you crafted an exquisite pair of shoes, only to discover that they had mismatched soles. The laughter that erupted from your shop echoed through the village, turning a potential faux pas into a quaint reminder of the cobbler sand every mortal's folly. You play it off with a wink and a good-natured shrug, turning potential catastrophe into camaraderie. Occasionally, you find yourself in the role of mediator in disputes as old as time itself, the warring siblings each vying for your undivided attention, the pragmatic parents wondering how to explain the concept of shoes of the future to children imagining Pegasus-level wings. Such moments demand not just skilled shoemaking but adroit negotiation and patience, ensuring satisfaction and fidelity despite the minor chaos. The customer's sovereignty extends beyond the moments within your shop. Their testimonials, their stories, find their way into the furrows and alleys of village life, assisting in crafting your name and your station. A well-made shoe becomes a mobile advertisement, paraded through dirt pathways and manor halls alike. It's a relentless and perpetual marketing campaign carried out on foot, with each wearer pledging allegiance, however unwittingly, to your prowess and creativity. When your favoured lady customer reveals that her evening slippers inspired no less than 3 compliments at the recent market fête, your chest swells with quiet pride. Out of a crumbled workbench and an open fire, you've fashioned not just footwear, but joy and confidence, solid enough to withstand even the cobblestones of polite society. Yet, subtle anxieties persist, tethering your moments of triumph to the ground. What if tomorrow's lord, or newest spouse of the land, demands a mirage of shoes no earthly cobbler can fashion? These musings skip across your mind like stones over idle rivers, but with the same dexterity imbued into your hands-moving mountains through careful manipulation. By dusk, as the ebb and flow of village life recedes into murmur, you linger amidst the storied shelves, each pair of shoes chronicling a piece of your journey and the stories they trod. To submit to the customer's dominion is not just an acquisition, it is the shared pursuit of crafting common destiny from the malleable forge of dreams and leather. And so, tomorrow, having courted varied desires and balanced artistry beneath mercurial tides, you shall rise again. Amidst the flickering torchlight, with hands tracing future partnerships, the rhythmic undertow whispers shared ambitions. Here, amidst hum of swift guilt and pleasure intertwined, shoemakers leave Ponder Day embraced forging connections, variegated like rain upon heathered ground. It all circles back to the cobbler and his quiet partner, the customer. A sturdy footfall, uniting fragments as they progress slowly through twilight's fading glow, echoing softly in the echoes of dusty dreams sent forth along trade-worn paths familiar and unfound alike. With each sunrise comes not only the vibrant cacophony of chirping birds and market hustle, but also the age-old quandary of balancing craftsmanship and profit. As a shoemaker in medieval times, your keen awareness of the economy's mercurial nature is as ingrained as the leather beneath your fingertips. The price of craftsmanship is a perpetual negotiation between the cost of materials, the value of your time, and the relentless pursuit of survival. Imagine this intricate dance between productivity and sustenance. You rise before the cock's crow, armed with awls, needles, and resolute intention, ready to engage with this ongoing struggle. The goal? To weave purpose into your work, while extracting just enough from each shoe to fill the purse and plate. Convincing customers of your shoe's worth requires artistry in both craft and negotiation. As each pair of shoes shapes itself beneath your hands, you weigh the time and attention needed against the potential earnings they might fetch in the marketplace. Your work is both a vocation and a tapestry, series of stitches pulling the fabric of village economy taut, each shoe a personalized investment in human connection. Historians still debate how much influence monopolies or larger economic entities might have held over small tradesmen like yourself. Were they overseers squeezing small profits out of hard-working craftsmen, or supportive patrons who helped lubricate the wheels of social mobility? The reality, much like the trade itself, lies shrouded in shadow, colored by guild regulations, tariffs, and the ever-changing demands of lords and peasants alike. It's always a delicate tango. You employ craftsmanship to craft the tales of shoes, drawing on subtle artistry to transform mundane necessities into covetable masterpieces. Each embellishment, every detailed stitch, serves a dual purpose, one aesthetic and another as armor in a challenging retail landscape where profit margins sometimes reflect little more substance than a slip of paper. But why should reality not dabble in whimsy now and again? Your seasoned eyes can calculate costs much like an acrobat, treads a tightrope poised yet flexible. You journey through the intricacies of human desire and the broader rhythms of supply and demand. Sometimes you give in, pricing your labor modestly to accommodate those of slender purse and numerous toiling children. Other times you barter with the vigor of a merchant at sea, eyes agleam with a youthful glitter as you charm the extra coin from an aristocrat entranced by your unconventional gaiters. This balancing act extends further, coupling itself lightly with humor as griffins of laughter ripple in its wake. Remember the time you outdid yourself, creating a pair so extravagant, so comically ornate, they were paraded to finer appreciation at neighboring fairs by none other than the jester himself, a testament to overreaching zeal met with mirthful reprisal. Relationships fortified through trade nourish a steady stream of income where only arid doubt existed before. The knight whose horse through a shoe settles his tab with an unexpected feast invitation, and the weaver yearning for slippers finds solace in seamless exchanges of cloth for fine-footed protection. Amidst all these transactions lies the mental calculus that every shoemaker must master. You identify wasted material with practiced restraint and avoid over-investing your time in creating for those who might not yield returns. Yet there's always an element of chance when reading a stranger's faithfulness, encoding trust within the whispers of promises and smiles. The grimoires of your craft whisper, guidance, yes. Even inanimate books can speak, coaxing possibilities from layered pages. Those pages proffer wisdom between levels of reckoning and unapologetic humor. Graced by ancestors as willful as they were wise, the essence of artisans' patterned evenings, enriched through enduring allegiance. In time, your modest thrums develop not only a pulse, but a promise stitched neatly around spoken intent. Buyers often cup aspirations like vessels of ample supplier. Such appears the case beneath your cobbler's roof, where trust binds merchants and makers united in common ebb. Yet amidst measures gaining malleability with each persuading artifice and rhetoric there laments the quiet truth that even the most flux-minded shoemakers must ponder this overarching cost. These souls have no other wealth beyond that which tarries unyieldingly within thread-bound bowers of tactile craft, no reliance acknowledging, perhaps, that here unfolds memory's echoes beneath leather maps reverentially contoured. Even as dust collects tenderly upon leather scrolls of endeavors years gone, and bones labor chilled in hearth's absence, one remains tethered evermore to principles tenacious, through generations yet unyielding to frivolous reinvention. And so tomorrow, you remain dutiful amidst bards' tunes, carrying a people's step through dusk-laden nightfall, until journey's eve entwines life samely spent faint brooks, echoing moonward once more. In the heart of your workshop, where the soft glow of candlelight flickers against stone walls, the unseen hazards of your trade lie in wait. Shoemaking, despite its noble craft of granting mobility and comfort, comes with a host of health hazards that are as intrinsic as the leather itself. From the dust that dances in golden beams of light to the incessant pounding of the mallet, every element contributes to a symphony of occupational challenges. The air within your workspace is thick, heavy with the scent of leather and glue. These aromas, once comforting, now occasionally snag in your throat, reminding you that the art of breathing easy is a luxury worlds beyond. The limited ventilation causes particles to hang, suspended in the air, creating a subtle haze that catches the afternoon light, swirling like spectres, recounting tales of lung ailments endured by shoemakers past. You're no stranger to these spectres, and awareness of them guides your daily routines. As you cut and shape, the fine dust of the leather drifts upward, settling unnoticed until the irritation in your throat becomes impossible to ignore. Working long hours bent over your bench, the physical toll begins to gnaw at muscles stitched together by years of precise labor. Historians still argue about the extent to which medieval craftsmen understood the health ramifications of their trades. Did awareness of dusty lungs or aching hands spur more caution? Or did artisans simply accept discomfort as part of their calling's fabric? For you, these hazards are both nuisance and unwelcome companions, shadowing every act of creation like a reluctant footman. The tools themselves, while faithful companions, do not spare your flesh. The awl's sharp point has bitten into your palm more than once, a remonstrance both unexpected and harsh. It reminds you that mastery and mishap often walk hand in hand, a delicate embrace where each minor victory is tempered by a price paid in calluses and beetle-black bruises. There's that memorably and slightly comical episode where a slip of the hammer sent a nail soaring through the air, missing your wide eyes by mere hairs. Laughter bubbled over, mingled with relief, as your startled breath found purchase in humor's kindly embrace. Such moments remind you that even within routine's secure net, surprise lurks beneath leather creases. Your candle flickers as day's light wanes, casting a warm glow upon the worn wood and leather scraps. You pause to stretch, the ache in your back as familiar as the scent of your tools, but no less insistent for being known. Your fingertips, stained from years of toil, rub against the muscles, drawing out the tension inch by inch. Amidst these repetitive motions, there are days when you find humor in the absurdity of it all. Sprigs of hay caught theatrically in your hair, invading your vision as you work an accidental flourish worthy of the play's finale. Your laughter refracts, carried on the beams of light, shared with the stoic apprentices whose knowing grins and sympathetic glances offer exotic camaraderie of shared burden. Every craftsman makes adjustments, subtle shifts to circumvent the sluggish grip of these intricate whispers of weariness. Splashing cold water upon your face, energizing limbs stretched long, you're reminded of an inner resilience that originates from humanity's twin wells of perseverance and creativity. The evenings find you breathing deeply the cool night air, each lungful an elixir of relief and stillness, contrasting with the day's cumulative chorus. It refreshes you, a tonic of quietude soothing the inevitable tension that loyalty to an antique craft can exact. In this space, you find a delicate balance between homage to traditions past and gentler rhythms that respect body and breath. Sometimes, amidst the shadows of candlelit reflection, a child's gaze captures your gentle attention. Through the window's protective glass, a momentary whisper of boundless time, akin to melodies carried upon evening's breath. As their questions splay across interests shaped with diamond facets of innocence, you allay their fears with words of truth, nestled tenderly around promises foolishly spoken but lovingly held aglow. For friends and neighbors, your heart treads toward reverence's guarded sanctuary, unbroken melodies offering balm to outpaced actions, your laughter dispensed as wine poured generously onto table corners, worn by years preceding, and henceforth, together, you rest upon shared stonicer foundation, eroded softly beneath floods of laughter and over crests of days snatched from weave to leather. Yet even these constant riddles remain dwarfed by history's embrace beneath bejeweled skies, surrendered over stretches of moonstruck fields. Sheltered in promises of whispered grass, amidst trembling leaves unswayed, melding history unto land afoot, enhancer of solitude. So with day's end, the relentless toll taken by shoemaking's hazard sense steeled as burdens not borne alone is, revealed instead as filigree warm-toned, rich, swirling roots, connecting moments wrapped in warmth like bandages interwoven by comrades' hands. From dust clouds to laughter's echoes, each session carries its own myriad stories, awaiting transcription onto curled leather pages. In that calm space at twilight's arrival, you glean the truth both worn and tender, where the work of hands, though demanding, harbours life not weary but sacred, alike to threaded grail, granted boundless breath. Thus, holding tools, cherished companions unshaken, the task bespoken softly calls forth life anew. As the waning days of autumn fold into the brittle embrace of winter, your shoemaker's shop becomes a haven against the sharp bite of the cold. Each season brings with it unique challenges and opportunities, shaping the rhythm of your life as reliably as the turning of the wheel. The cycle of seasons is a steadfast partner in the medieval world, dictating not only agricultural bounty, but the ebb and flow of shoemaking itself. In winter, business slows to a near halt. The snow-cloaked village slumbers, its streets hushed beneath soft layers of white. Here, in the quiet cocoon of your workshop, the days seem to stretch endlessly, as measured silences weave between the metallic chime of your hammer meeting a last. The candle glow is warm against your skin, a soothing balm against the outside chill, yet an invisible tether reminds you that prosperity is rare in these frozen months. With fewer customers venturing into the frigid outdoors for new shoes, and more choosing to preserve rather than procure, your focus turns instead to repairing well-loved foot, where the cherished boots of village elders, or the delicate slippers of those fond of evening dances during warmer days. It's a time for resourcefulness, finding new life in old leather, knotted soles renewed with care and quiet devotion. The irony of winter's constraint lies in the creative freedom it grants. Your artistry flourishes in the liberating space where urgency bows to patience, coaxing from stubborn materials, a perfection that is often elusive in busy times. Each stitch is deliberate, a trace of warmth left, nestled within seams against the cold that cannot be stalled by mere aureate threads. Spring arrives softly, its gentle breath warming the air until the tinkling drip of thawing ice provides a joyful melody. As life burgeons around you like brushstrokes on nature's canvas, your shop begins to hum with renewed energy. Customers shed winter cloaks for lighter garments, their conversations skipping like playful brook over stones. They bring new aspirations, each family carrying tales of brighter days yet to come, and feet eager for shoes that mirror rebirth. Historians still debate whether seasonal changes had more of an impact on shoemakers economically than other factors such as population booms or declines. Did the shifting seasons dictate the rhythm of trade and demand more than societal shifts? Regardless, for you, each season's impact is profoundly tangible, as reliable as the sun's lazy arc across the sky's expanse. Summer bids you embrace its warmth and light through long days, weaving heat into the fabric of everyday life. Village festivals punctuate sunlight hours, and patrons flock to your shop seeking footwear fit for dancing on blossoming meadows and dusty roads cast agrarian-hued. The pulse of the village quickens, stirring excitement and ensuring a steady influx of business. Shoes crafted in this period reflect human exuberance. Vibrant colors and intricate patterns symbolize the joy of shared laughter beneath the sun. As the villagers revel in festivities, their laughter abundant in the sun-soaked air, your creativity finds new outlets. Humorous escapades emerge from earnest requests, shoes designed for jesters, bright and zany, resembling more an elaborate joke than cladding for earthly movement. Your patrons chuckle, even as they marvel, taken in by the comedic charm rendered through cunning craft and loving jest. With the bounty of summer comes the harvest in autumn, a time of preparation and preservation. The villagers turn inward once more, bolstering themselves against the approaching cold. The demand for sturdy boots, waterproofed and resilient, consumes your time, even as the scent of wood smoke and cider drifts through the streets. As the trees shed their finery in brilliant cascades of gold and crimson, you craft with an eye towards the stoicism carried within every stitch, the resilient endurance prepared for winter's icy grip. In this ever-turning seasonal dance, you build a life intertwined with the cycles themselves, each shoe crafted reflecting not just utility, but the changing tides of your community's needs and desires. The keen rhythm of work shifts to its own cadence, punctuated by nature's transitions. Through it all, you find a gentle reassurance in the constancy of this cycle, this spiral interwoven with both hope and history. The seasons shape not only trade and prosperity, but also something deeper: connection, forged through fabric, leather, time, and tradition. Through flame-kissed winters, vibrant springs, sultry summers, and crisp autumns, you endure alongside your craft-spinning stories into souls as though gilding twilight's dance with a steady heart. There's wit in observing this rhythmary acknowledgement of the unending predictability beneath life's fabric, for when the shoemaker hones his tools in shadows, his legacy extends beyond leatherwork and lace, its craft entwined with living, stories stepping forth with every print bound in tradition's unyielding embrace. And so you continue, a traveller illuminated by the compass of seasons, wending your path ever onward, traded whispers scumming with quiet torchlight flickers at dusk's embrace. Onward, borne relentlessly where tales, laughter, and strength coalescing, perfect tandem with life's terrestrial waltz, taxation, and tithes. These words, wrapped with the weight of obligation, play an ongoing symphony in your life as a shoemaker, casting their somber shadows upon both your earnings and your spirit. The world of medieval economics is embroidered with the heavy hand of authority lords, kings, and the omnipresent Churchill eager to extract their due from your sweat and stitches. As you settle into your workshop, the unmistakable clatter of coins rings in your mind, each clink a reminder of the levies that await, lurking like phantom figures at your door. You know them all too well. These collectors of dues and demands, who emerge whenever the harvest rejoices, or whenever the workshop clutters with patrons seeking new shoes. In those moments between waking dreams and conscious labor, you count your inventory with sharp eyes, each shoe a step towards fulfilling not just personal goals, but the wide stretch of obligations that wrap like vines around the sturdy tree of your trade. With each pair sold, you portion out the earnings knowing full well that a share must always be set aside to appease those who wield power from on high. The village lord requires his due, a tithe taken for the privilege of working within his domain. While you match patterns of cut material with perfect care, knowing a portion of your income must bolster the coffers of those whose patronage can often seem more of burden than boon. His herald calls periodically at your door, ears attuned to the jingle of coinsure, willingness to yield maintaining favor, and granting you respite from the sword's stern side-eye gaze. Historians still argue about the true weight of feudal taxes, and whether they crippled tradesmen or simply irritated an otherwise balanced system of give and take. Were they innovative incentives for economic growth, or mere arbitrary exactions that siphoned hard-earned revenues into a mire of wealth? In the heart of these debates are your earnings, hard-fought and treasured, as blessed as the labor that lifts your tools each dawn. No less demanding is the church, whose reach extends across walls sturdier than any cobbler's hearth could posit. On Sundays, you stand amongst the congregation, hymns soaring toward the rafters as incense and supplication mingle around you. Beyond the beauty of faith stands the cost of participatione, tithe wrought from devotion and necessity, rendered without question, but not without impact on your slim coffers. In the flicker of candlelight, there's humor to be found amid bureaucratic irony. You remember the incident with the overzealous tax collector, whose fumbling fingers led to him dropping every painstakingly counted coin across your workbench, spilling wealth and woe into humorous, unexpected pile. Shared laughter temporarily enjoined the clash between treasury and tradia reprieve, both sympathetic and short-lived. Keeping pace with these claims against your earnings requires subtlety, akin to balancing scales atop swaying branches. Thus, you learn to dance with the whispers of taxes, finding creativity within the interstices where cunning whets ambition. The cobbler devising clever methods for deflecting undue sequestration, while gracefully fulfilling obligations both secular and sacred, holds court in the kitchen of talent. Under the moon's quiet watch, fellow craftsmen join you, bemoaning levies as tavern cups lift in solidarity. They spin barbed humor like skeins of yarn rumors, woven slantwise about the taxman's inevitable indulgence when heeding quirked signature lining petitions. What else can cobblers, bakers, and tradesfolk wield amid purse-laden whims of consequence but humor's eternal sword? Amidst these jesting sighs, you reflect upon shared forbearance, each artist's tale resplendent with entrepreneurial elan and anxiety. Their camaraderie spins wealth, greater than golder. Common thread, woven sui generis within hearts by fingers stained with centuries of quiet revolt, as legacy stamps its hand upon mindful whispers. And as seasons trade rolls, fulfilling both bond and joy anew, shoemakers compose parables that will settle affirmed upon scrolls entrusting tomorrows. Beneath a regimen bespeaking endeavor, left unbroken, craftsmen, arras alert, responsive, cradling challenges, faced with centered certitude amid brittle change that continually maps resources for purpose. So while taxes and tithes writhe their labyrinthine rites seamlessly across acts devised upon prosperity's stage, the shoemaker's stitch gleams quietly. This trade, well-trodden, yet tirelessly rehearsed, unites time-wise generations alongside warmth-bound watch. Today, amidst rattle-pick boots beneath Welchman's stars railways, onward borne amid measured-footed accord. Thus rises yet another day of leatherwork beneath patient dawn, where cobblers conspire against shadows with artful intent-crafting shoes, enveloping texture, reliant journeys rendered more wholly upon down-to-earth footing. What lies before becomes testament, scattered among ailisome embraces, rendered beautiful upon life's pursuing paths, forever crafting echoes bound free amid forsaking whispers. Amid the eternal dance of needs and wants, fashion twirls elegantly across cobblestone paths and noble halls, weaving its ethereal spell on all who bear witness to its fleeting whims. As a shoemaker, keeping pace with the fickle mistress of fashion requires adaptability, wit, and a keen eye on necessity, woven into the very fabric of medieval life, manifest through each intricate stitch and measured cut. Picture yourself navigating through a sea of evolving tastes and trends. The evolution of shoe shapes, colors, and materials speaks as much to the passage of time as the cycles of the moon. As seasons slip one into another, they bring with them new muses for those who indulge in the craft of shoes that aim not merely for function, but fashion. Your workshop is an incubator for style, a place where creativity intersects with necessity to birth sculptures in leather and thread. You smile as you recall the absurdity sown within each fashion cycle's unpredictability. What was revered yesterday could just as easily be tomorrow's folly, much like the capability of sea mist rewriting history in every fleeting breeze. Historians still argue about the true influence of fashion over the medieval craftsman. Did the desire to innovate visually overshadow aspects of quality? Was it simply a reflection of societal ambitions marketed with vibrant brilliance? While such questions float through academic halls, they're undeniably present in every facet of your craft. In a marketplace bustling with anticipation and laughter, fashion sets the stage, commanding attention with the flair of an extravagant peacock among sparrows. Each customer wields desires formed by the latest whispers of court and congregation tales of pointed toes, or buckles that shine like minted stars, echo to you through veils of clinking coins. Even as social divides stratify community layers, shoes find parity in their power to speak of status and style alike. Your ingenuity finds fertile soil as the forge of your bench becomes a cradle for patterns and design, spun from gossip as much as from genuine enthusiasm. Each innovation is imbued with the delicate balance of boldness and restraint, offering patrons a tapestry turned wearable soul beneath history's capture of cultural morphing. At times, your ambition results in whimsical creations that abandon convention shoes with exaggerated, pointed toes, seemingly designed to trip the unaware more than support their stride. They spark conversation, their exaggerated appearance breeding humorous bewilderment, even as their audacity gains favor among the village's more daring figures. Then there are requests rooted more firmly in practicality, yet subtly adorned so as not to be outshone by attire. A merchant demands shoes of a certain comfortable cut and clever embossment, signifying a man attentive to his station, yet conversant with craftsmanship's delicate artistry. In moments of reflection but not absent jest you recall quaint tales of the past. The nobleman, demanding shoes that would strum beneath dancers' magica, promise perhaps unfortunately immortalized in jest or shame as Wood is wont to remember, invites humor and embarrassment alike. But from such adventures emerge new awareness and direction, honing recognition as to where the tomorrow foot steps firmly. The omnipresent seasons of fashion encourage adaptability and inspire colorful expression both metaphorically and literally. As patrons seek renewal, they find in your creations echoes birthed through lively disputes, silk ribbons for noble women, or dyed patches that shimmer upon lad's best day, and darken with the threatened Rainer channel for desires unknown, that wait patient inside an artisan's heart eager to explore mystery and mastery, intertwined. Each creation reflects the legacy of shoemakers before you, those who laid the path's true essence. Within their whispers is the declaration that fashion, when paired with form, is a powerful ally greater than any tool's critiquia, kinder companion that liberates dreams rather than constraining craftsmanship. Through these exchanges, these interlinguistic dances of customers and craftsmen alike, you find the spark of ingenuity lighting arched shadows across the ads. It's a venture rich in barter and humor, where neither snow nor tradition outweighs wonder's promise unfolded tenderly by hand. And thus, with eyes directed firmly toward a vision of constant evolution, awkwardly faced ever-new puzzles, dancing disco-style on medieval checkerboards, shaped by circumstance's whispered voice, turn deftly upon moments heard within sturdy leather pages, unburned by frivolous fashion's fuss. Fashion in the medieval world may well be ephemeral a wraith that flits beyond the grasp of logic, but its influence is all-pervasive. Transformative yet grounding, it works tirelessly alongside you, a reminder that while tools may fashion form with pragmatic finesse, the art of innovation finds joy in creation's limitless parade. As your shoes carry forth these echoes dressed in vibrant hues, fashion lives briefly beneath new suns, arcing across lives step deftly and dauntlessly within time's fragile embrace. And so you sow for tomorrow, assured that what now flutters beneath cloaked secrets shall dance forth warmly within tannin's embrace upon morning's whispers entwined. As the hem of night unfurls into dawn's gentle embrace, your workshop emerges as a realm of both craft and narrative. Every shoe you make bears not only leather and thread, but also the stories that thrum quietly within each stitch and seam. They hold whispers of past triumphs and dreams awaiting realization, nestled within the tangible expanse of your creations. Each pair becomes a repository for the tales of those who wear them, and as you shape and mold, you find yourself weaving stories as much as souls. The workshop is alive with the soft symphony of tools dancing across your workbench, the rhythmic scraping of leather against the edge of your knife, the gentle tapping of nails driven home with precise intention. All these sounds blend together in a melody that has resonated through generations. In the stillness of creation, your mind ventures through memories and half-formed narratives, conjuring stories of journeys untaken and adventures yet to be embraced. Every shoe has its own saga, etched into the fabric of its existence. A knight's boots, tough and resolute, echo the clashing cadence of swordplay amidst ribbons of battle dust. The shoes you crafted for a village maiden destined for marriage bear the delicate embroidery of dreams spun from love's unfurling tapestry, each stitch dancing to the rhythm of shared laughter. Your craft becomes an alchemy, where imagination transmutes lines of heritage into new tales embodied in material form. Occasionally, a playful wit sparkles through your narrativas, with the swaggering fool who requested shoes with bells sewn firmly within the leather, each step a clarion call delighting and confounding those who inquire. Historians continue to debate the role of storytelling in the preservation of culture and society's self-awareness. Was narrative an essential tool for shaping identity across generations, or a byproduct of oral tradition's grip on medieval life? You carry this debate into your work with respect, acknowledging how each shoe holds stories shared, stories cherished, and stories sometimes forgotten. You embrace the light-hearted challenge as children gather to watch you work, their eyes wide and their questions bubbling forth with eagerness. As they wait, you weave impromptu tales of shoemakers' journeys. A small leather shoe launched into the sky to touch stars, or enchanted boots that dance their way across kingdoms shrouded in shadow. Their laughter rises like morning mist, wrapping your workbench in youthful naivete that tugs at your heartstrings. With each new commission, your imagination swells. At times, customers tell their tales freely, stories tucked lightly inside guarded desires. A stable boy turned squire recounts the steed's gallop-warm leather shelter amid rain's reluctant embrace and the uncertainty of tomorrow's dawn. Woven into the fabric of each narrative is hope, strength, humanity hidden layers only revealed to craftsmen's hands. Amongst shoes on the workbench lies a pair embellished discreetly with Celtic knots, symbols of continuity echoing through threads of tradition. They whisper talks and metaphors of weaving life, a mystical symbolism alive with labyrinthine paths, carved through histories old and newly imagined. These powerful symbols lace themselves to spirit's kinship like trees, holding life bent against life's chant. Your own memories stir amid sheets of vellum, their stories accompanied by melodies of friendship kindled over afternoons' labor together gained. The camaraderie among shoemakers echoes with remembrance, crafting community despite the constraints of rivalry and occupational hazards. Tales forged in patience mark a sojourner's resolve, tempered by faltering resolve and brightened, emboldened by whispers. As work continues by candlelight's watchful gaze, you muse on how these narratives might influence the shoe's creation. Does the soul of the storyteller somehow infuse its essence into the soul's design? A patterned vocabulary, enhancing life's stride, echoes time's gentle steps across fields of lore. The intertwining of story and craft evokes a cycle. Each pair of shoes becomes a chapter within the greater narrative called life. And as society weaves its own tapestry, the shoemaker's feet keep time with each rhythm, nodding quietly amid tales kindled as woodland smoke. So, while seasons mark their passage and work orders blur, the stories maintain life, woven softly resplendent through dust and shadowed twilight and moon's gaze. Each creation reveals truths framed amid memories, doubts, and determination, echoes spun wholly into tales bright beneath stars a testament, not to fantasy forgotten, but dreams once shared amid life's complicated dance of memories weave. As you and autumn's rain exchange pleasantries, shaping tales from stitches through embrace of shoemaker's grace, each laugh shared reborn beside joyous anticipation, shared anew brings forth loving depths. Ever stirring beneath quiet evenings and brisk dawn-lit mornings, the artisan's soul continues to mold not simply footwear, but shared narrative written firmly upon dust-laden roads and shoemaker's matted cloth. In your hands, leather becomes transformative, spun seamlessly into echoes quieting time's march. Bound by memory's lasting threads, voice shared beneath whispered cascades, unseen joins gentle creation to cradle tomorrow's aspirations, beneath stars pirouetting upon eternity's tableau. As the days unfold and seasons paint their vibrant allure upon the village, you find yourself increasingly ensconced in the solitude of your craft. The shoemaker's life, often punctuated by the hum of a bustling marketplace and the rhythmic clatter of tools, is paradoxically steeped in moments of profound solitude. These quiet interludes offer both solace and companionship, textures layering the fabric of your daily existence. The solitude is as much a craftswoman as you are, shaping the intricacies of your shoemaking with whispered tutelage. It enters silently, unfurling its gentle embrace as you carve paths through leather, drawing comfort in the rhythmic pulse of processes repeated 1,000 times over. In these hours of hushed concentration, time blurs into an indistinct haze, where the boundary between self and craft dissolves, melding you into the essence of what you create. The solitary quietude allows room for ruminazione chance to reflect on memories passing like shadows through the candlelight's velvet filter. In those solitary moments, untouched by the clangor of village life, introspection journeys freely, weaving tales of your own, indulging in thoughts tangled like laces left untied after a hurried day. Historians ponder whether medieval craftsmen truly embraced solitude or were merely at its whim, wrapped in a necessity-driven existence. Did they crave community, or find themselves pulled reluctantly into its folds? For you, solitude is a kindred spirit, offering the tapestry of silence on which you embroider dreams and memories. Yet, this serene companionship walks a delicate edge, one where isolation can sometimes deepen into an echoing chasm. There are days when shadows loom larger within the seclusion-taught threads, occasionally resonating with loneliness. It's an inexplicable yearning for connection beyond the materials at hand, for voices or perhaps souls that resonate at the same frequency as the quiet within your hidden sanctum. Humor finds its way into this labyrinth, like a playful sprite eager to lighten the heart. It comes in the form of imagined dialogues with your toolser, jesting hammer offering bickering quips that prompt wry smiles, or the cleverly knotted twine challenging your patience with mischievous knots. These whimsical gambits transform the solitude into a creative ballet, sustenance against the monotony of routine. The village, too, is acutely aware of the solitary nature of the shoemaker's trade. Sometimes, villagers drift by your door, concerned Phillips offering an invitation to revel in feasting or celebration within shared communal tables. Though you're accustomed to the gentle seep of solitude, you appreciate the gestures, seeing them as threads bound symbiotically through shared fortunes and yards. On quieter days, friends and fellow craftsmen stop by to exchange stories and laughter over shared bites of bread and cider. Their visits are welcome ports amid the vast ocean of solitary work moments, rendered vibrant by the play of light and shadow falling softly across worn cobbles. These meetings inject new tales and familiar camaraderie into the nuances of daily labor. Your workshop's atmosphere pulses, with these exchanges palimpsests of dialogue resurfacing between voices bound by friendship. It casts warmth upon the cool solitude, tincturing it with support and community, lending new form to the journey we cobblers all trace through shared paths. As dusk lays its tender shroud upon your workshop, evenings weave a hushed companionship of their own. Bathed in the golden embrace of a setting sun or the silvery bloom of moonlight, the world narrows to a gentle cocoon where shadows stretch and twine around the familiarity of leather and tools. You become the artisan of your solitude, reshaping it into a friend who understands the subtleties of creativity born from isolation. Sometimes, amid the quiet, you find unexpected joy in simple elements: a breeze carrying distant laughter, a nightingale's song streaming through the eaves, or a child's faint call from beyond. These soft punctuations are sweet leitmotifs stitched through the day, ensuring solitude never spirals a lull of emptiness. In reflection, you realize solitude, twice embraced and patiently navigated, has algorithmically formed a companion never absent but imbued presence, becoming an ally in the creative quest. Your identity, as a shoemaker, finds space to unfurl in ways vibrant yet profound, merging form with function and word with action, a testament to life's coexistence imprinted between silence and whispers left unheard. And thus with it, you revel in both silence's grip and warm exchanges, the quaint rhythm of labor coupled with a dance of fabric and friendship, reminding you that amidst life's irregular montage lieth equilibrium, rarefied and true. As the sun fades and stars emerge, the world contracted into the workshop expands once more, merging itself with the tapestry holding both life and craft. Here, amid a yet unfinished symphony of footfalls, hidden and unworn, your leather dance continues, in even steps alongside earthen pathways measured, where cobblers weave both thread and tale shared solitarily, yet never alone. In the universe of shoemaking, where creativity intertwines with tradition, there exists an unspoken language, the silent dialogue spoken through the very shoes you craft. Each pair, a cultural cipher, holds within its seams revelations of its wearer's status, aspirations, and history. It's a language learned gradually, whispered from one cobbler to the next, inscribed through the sharp lines of style and the rough textures of well-worn leather. As you stand amidst the familiar comfort of your workshop, this language of footwear surrounds you, each shoe on your shelf, a testament to stories unspoken yet vividly manifest. From knights to courtiers, peasants to merchants, every pair conveys a narrative far richer than mere utility or ornamentation. Here, shoes become tongues that speak without voice, emissaries of human condition, bound gently to souls unerring. Consider the shoes of nobility. They are ostentatious, designed to captivate with their intricate patterns and opulent materials. Plumes and embroidery dance beneath flickering light, echoing silent tales of grandeur whispered in manor halls. The pointed toes, often extending far beyond practical purposes, nod cheekily to an elegance sometimes at odds with the dusty reality of medieval pathways. These shoes announce arrival, demanding attention and proclaiming wealth through their audacious designs. Conversely, the sturdy boots of farmers and laborers tell tales of resilience, hard-wearing companions, fashioned for a life tethered to the land. Their solid soles and durable leather are marked not by the dance of courtly soirees, but by the rhythmic toil of field and barn. Yet even among these practical shoes, you find artistry in their simplicity, the unassuming craft that ensures the farmer treads confidently across his earthbound realm. As a shoemaker, your task is not just to fashion shoes, but to capture the essence of their wearers, the unguarded poetry of footfalls cushioned and pronounced along cobblestones and fields. You regard each commission as an opportunity to decode this mysterious language, interpreting whispers from pairs that traverse boundaries both social and cultural. Historians still debate the full extent to which footwear signified social hierarchies, grappling with interpretations that span aesthetics, pragmatism, and even rebellion against conformity. Was a shoe ever merely a shoe? Or did even practical choices hint at deeper layers of identity grasped by society's ever-watchful eyes? Within these dialogues lies the truth of a world where fashion speaks more loudly than words. Indeed, the language of shoes sometimes reveals secrets as much as stories. A fisherman's sandals bear subtle watermarks, shadowing ripples of maritime adventures upon their insoles. The blacksmith's clogs thud with stubborn resolve, their reinforced structures speaking to an enduring dance with fire and steel. Each pair, a dialect born of purpose and profession, binds the material to the intangible with delicate artistry. Amid this sea of stories, humor peeks through earnestness's cloak, like the impish request from an actor whose shoes were designed with comedic flair, angled wide enough to inspire laughter in strolling bystanders. Or the whimsical challenge of creating shoes that would appear invisible against a gleaming dance floor, a jest and innovation rolled seamlessly into one. Your workshop, a sanctuary where leather and thread embrace in silent conversation, becomes a staging ground for these exchanges. While shaping each shoe, you listen for the tales that rise slowly through the room, the harmony of snipping shears marking the rhythm of lives entangled with your own. Each finished piece rests as a dialogue held in creative suspension, an elegant retelling traced through silent footfalls. Yet, the unspoken language of shoes goes beyond crafting a singular work. It's about translating personal stories into shared experience. As you observe villagers trying on new shoes, their stories walk anew beside them, weaving additional narratives into the threads of community life. Among friends, gathered around a flickering hearth's glow, this language comes alive, spun vibrantly with repartee and fond laughter. Jokes are shared about the dignity-defying clogs, still remembered as jovially paired on gentry's spare attire. Lift smooth or sharp are mirrored tongues finding release, speaking from past to kin supportive beyond measure's shelf. Your colleagues, though flush with different skills, weave knowing nods as time travels between worn leather pages. They remind you of stories passed down from ancestors now content to lounge within eternity's dusk shoes that marched onto bridges, held gently upon junction's seam. Here, with browns and blacks swaying listlessly, shimmers of metallic threads, gracefully embedded, seek roving homage across scores forgotten. And thus, you stand alight before dusk draws quiet night's breath once more. Fashioned upon the paths of leather, this language extends itself beyond solitude and swirling earth to crown shoemaker's craft both robust and telling. For woven amid its very sinews breathe the legends sustaining tales, well-kept legs lighter and lively treading, entwining revel with legacy's heart and thought-bound voice held fast beneath promise's wing. With courage born of old world's art upon rhythm's cadence, fleet-footed, sure, you listen ceaselessly beside shadows, long and worn to sing, softly past each shoe a boundless, woven-born language echoing between crafted heels, distinctly sung without loss, before sound's piece in eloquence poised. The world of medieval craftsmanship, rooted firmly in the material realm, holds secrets beyond mere physics and form. Superstitions and rituals weave themselves into the fabric of your daily life as a shoemaker, casting an intriguing tapestry where belief dances with pragmatism. Within your workshop's walls, these mystical nuances whisper across the bench, lending an air of enchantment to the art of shoemaking. You begin each day mindful of these rituals, the quiet incantations often murmured beneath your breath as you tie your apron, the knot infused with ancient blessings. These subtle gestures align the fates, gently coaxing prosperity to rest among your tools. They speak to you not in commanding tones, but in the soft murmur of tradition. Tradition respected as much as leather's grain or a stitch's path. Superstition is a shadowy companion, threading each task with ritual and belief. As you cut, shape, and sew, you engage with folklore inscribed with an eternal quiller homage to predecessors who once walked similar paths. When a nail slips from your grasp, you utter a protective charm to ward off bad luck, realigning stars from fabric's gentle cascade. Historians still grapple with the role of superstition in medieval craft, whether such practices were genuine acts of faith or charming theatres performed to placate both public fear and expectation. Did they originate from necessity or mere whimsy woven into daily work life? Their influence remains palpable, each custom a tether to epochs passing. The act of crafting shoes is itself steeped in a certain mystic, turning simple materials into wearables imbued with whispers of magic. You know of travellers who carry talismans sewn discreetly into their Salisa pebble for wanderers, a sprig for strength which journey with them underfoot, companions against unseen perils. It wasn't uncommon for customers to specifically request that a small object, a keepsake or blessing, be hidden within the folds of leather. An old adage decrees that such objects hold the power to shield, and thus you oblige, embedding them discreetly with a nod to both tradition and discretioner, blend more potent than any potion conjured. One particularly memorable commission saw a certain humour in the superstitious young bride, requesting shoes imbued with bells to ward off mischievous spirits that sought to sow seeds of envy. The gentle jingle signified not just the presence of benevolent guardians, but hinted at the smile threading through every step as she approached the altar. Her merry steps, a tapestry of good wishes captured in rhyme. Conversely, your own rituals offer solace during moments of doubt. A simple gesture, a touch of chamois in the right direction, or the tap of a tool before its use calms inner storms, creating spaces in which creativity might blossom. These customs transform into quiet guarantees, offerings not just to gods unseen, but to spirits who dwell within. Indeed, among shoemakers, some say the very act of binding leather and braiding laces is akin to weaving dreamsar summoning of fortune, inscrutable yet binding, echoing archly through generations with promise long unbroken. The stories shared amid your community, woven snugly from leather tongues and folded threads, become tales handed reverently over glowing hearths. Gatherings with fellow craftsmen serve as platforms for sharing lore, insights laced with sincerity and amusement. Sharing wine and bread beneath stars' reminiscent twinkle, each solemn oath and gentle jest find companionship in shared ritual, woven through the nitre, luminous tapestry yielding wisdom stained by moonlight. Tradition fuels not just the magic involved, but grounds you within a wider narrative born from purpose-bound generations. In this landscape, ritual transcends mere act to become a reflection of community. The unity inspired between cobbler's bench, artisan's touch, and plebeian journeys entwined on lands traversed through leather-bound steps. Though some may scoff at superstition, deriding them with jests often as humorously rough-hewn as the shoes themselves, for you the balance between practicality and mysticism crafts wholeness against epitomy's keel. The slippers graced with rosemary scent reveal members labouring where hearths flicker warm, kindling mirth unknown and faith eternal. Thus entwined within the nuances of laughter's shadowed dance, you find Balenciaga-adorning shoes with playful charms more elusive than mischief's maze. For, like leather-graven and heels oaken upon cobble's curve aligned, life unites amid traditions held daft and wise, granting shoemakers pathways toward whispered harmony and steps along charmed threads. In embracing these rituals, you become keeper of sacred whispers, forging connections between craft, soul, and spirit, drawing lifelines woven upon sunlit roads. Joined firm with the concealed and visible alike, Shoemaker's bench welcomes each day afresh, with laughter sprinkled, rituals a promise fulfilled through. Feet untiring amid paths eternal, guarded kindly from eve's opening breeze till the morrow's grace notes echo pleased. In times when the drumbeats of war echo across the land, the life of a shoemaker gains an urgent and grave significance. As nations stir and rally to the call of battle, your craft becomes a linchpin in the machinery of war, driving you into the role of a supplier, arming soldiers not with swords, but with the shoes that will carry them over the vast stretches of battlefield and beyond. The summons arrives with a rush that quickens your pulse, a command borne on parchment smelling of wax and urgency. The village square buzzes with the somber preparations peculiar to such times: blacksmiths hammering out new blades, tailors weaving light garments into rugged attire. Through it all, the shoemaker's role is pivotal, for without sturdy footwear, even an army's mightiest warriors would falter before reaching the front lines. Your workshop transforms into a hive of activity, humming with both the thrill of challenge and the weight of responsibility. Leathers are chosen with a keen eye, only the toughest hides making the cut. They speak of resilience, not just against the physical terrain of mud and bramble, but against the tide of adversity, of long marches and bitter weather. As shoemaker, you now straddle two worlds: the home and the field, the forge, securing ambitions of peace and conflict alike. Crafting war shoes requires more than mere dexterity. It demands an understanding of the soldier's plight, each pair becoming a shield cleaved to feet that shall march through despair and victory alike. You design them to withstand not just earth but time, the soles heavy yet supple, pliable yet strong. Each stitch calls for precision. The threads binding these shoes are more than material, their hope, protectors stitched tight against the chaos beyond your village. Historians debate whether such roles occupied by artisans like you were more a product of necessity or a manifestation of wartime ingenuity expanding trades. Did warfare spur innovation within trades, typically circumspect? Here in the heart of Cobbler's song, the truth is intimately tied within directories embrace resilience and creativity joining under duress, forging art from conflict, banked by both need and hope. The pulse of shared effort pervades the village. An assembly line of feet, Each awaiting its partner shoe meets soldier's boot as you strive to balance flair with function. For every shoe properly fashioned becomes part of a soldier's journey, promising sure-footed comfort through uncertain trials and guarding against pathos as leather crashes beneath fate's press. Even within this transformation, humor finds its way to buoy spirits. You jest with your fellow craftsmen about creating sandals for soldiers made entirely of air, light enough to make them fleet as swallows yet invisible to mortal eye. It's a light-hearted ruse amid the motifs of war laughter, shared whispers, camaraderie for those laboring together, grappling with the staggering magnitudes of conflict. At evening's call, under the cool embrace of twilight skies, you gather with other artisans to unwind shared narratives over tankards of ale. Through the fragrant haze of pipe smoke, discussions unfold trivial and profound inquiring if adding a pinch of spice-dyed leather might bolster the courage of the wearer, or perhaps a runic mark, etched discreetly within soul's recess for luck. There's a sincerity too in these gatherings, a knowledge shared scars what time cannot dissolve. Tales told away from forge's clang devour memory's kaleidoscope at hearth's flicker warm, bound within shared gaze and reflected nod, solemn more than silence complete. Once the shoes are ready, a moment of reflection as they're lined up neatly, each pair silent in its anticipation of journey's purpose frames faithfully embraced. You know not where each soldier will tread, nor the burdens they bear, yet you find solace in the craft itself, a calm respite amidst swirling upheaval, with farewells whispered softly. Like autumn leaves dance on meadow's breeze, your shoes depart in draughty carriages, bound toward horizons kissed with uncertainty. They take with them fragments of heart and soul you, the shoemaker, solitary among travellers and bound amid motion unseen but known. The village endures despite war's distant call, shores tethered afloat, transformation circumspect. Here, within stones upturned and dubbed fair retrograde, artisans pursues faith's craftsmanship alongside hearts deeply moulded across council's fare, whilst laughter's refrain ignites night. Though worn long after dusk's arrival, shoes positioned now prospective pursue dance. Cathedral's chorale, amidst tome's page, engraved hardly past eventides, encountered bleak another artisan, unity teamed, tender despite elemental might balance, passionate and true. And thus, in true measure, tethered to the small and significant, shoemaker's path extends amid each dusk and dawn greeted hopeful anew, from humble hearth and bravery wrought within bonds, into land unknown crossed with marks silent but flowing toward peace upon shifting fields echoed solemn, this sacred journey anointed beneath time carved. Footsteps blessing, opened gates roam softly, quietly amidst sacred ground shared. With war set aside, and the seasons leading you into summer's sunlit embrace, the village transforms into a theatre of celebration. Feasts and festivals burst forth, like flowers after a long winter, painting the days with vibrant hues and compelling anticipation. As a shoemaker, your role in these lively times is pivotal. Your creations serve not only as essential wearables, but as players in the dreamy narratives woven into community life. Summer's energy fuels the air with palpable excitement. Vibrations from lively instruments echo through the village, mingling with peals of laughter that ride the breeze. Market days, bustling with throngs of chattering villagers, provide fertile ground for artisans and revelers alike. In the heart of your workshop, the humble sound of the cobbler's tools melds with a vibrant chorus, carried aloft by the promises of festivity. Demand for shoes becomes fierce, driven by the pure delight of impending celebrations. Customers seek more than practicality. They desire shoes that sing in step with the festivals themselves, where form and function unite and cast charming silhouettes against the glow of lanterns and merry fires. The shoes you craft for these occasions tell stories of joy, of momentary retreats from life's hardships, transporting wearers into worlds where the rhythm of dance and melody binds spirits together. In these frenetic days, nobles and commoners alike visit your shop with visions of finery. The nobility, attending grand feasts, require ornate shoes decked with gilt and embroidery, symbols of elegance woven through the leather's supple embrace. For the farmers and tradesmen, sturdy shoes embellished with splashes of color promise durability as they tread upon dusty roads and flowering meadows. Humor dances through the air, as villagers jest openly about the latest in festival footwear trends. Stories circulate of one particular reveler who made headlines in guild circles for his hilariously oversized shoes, designed to mimic the mythical, sure-footed giants claimed to dwell in the forest shadows. These shoes, a blend of mirth and craftsmanship, become a beloved anecdote that invites chuckles and admiration. Amidst the preparations for the grand summer fete, your workshop hums with the cadence of collective creativity. Here, artisans pool their resources and exchange whispers of secret crafting tips while relishing the shared sense of purpose. The cobbler's seat becomes a conductor's podium each stitch and hammer strike, ushering the season's vibrant symphony toward its crescendo. Historians still puzzle over the extent to which festivals influenced crafts in medieval life. Were they a genuine celebration of community spirit, or simply another arena where artisans showcased their prowess? While debate swirls between these two perspectives, you know firsthand the unifying power of these events, moments where artistry and humanity converge, where joy tempers the mundane rhythm of daily toil. The festival days themselves are a canvas for memory etched in indelible hues and fragrant traces. You stand among the revelers, feeling the thrill of movement as dancers twirl in your creations, their feet in harmonious communion with the land. Fabrics sway in soft currents, and laughter spirals upward, intermingling with the wafting perfume of fresh pies and spiced wines, joyful offerings shared as warmth finds its place among communal festivities. In quiet reflection, you appreciate how these festivals serve not just as a test for your craft, but as an opportunity for renewal. They remind you of your place in the broader tapestry, each shoe you craft contributing to the growing legacy of community and culture, vibrant threads that interweave between craft and celebration. Your shoes, footnotes on the journey shared, become fragments of the festal mosaic, each print a narrative set upon paths adorned with laughter and promise. Here, under the moon's gentle gaze or sun's determined blaze, the shoemaker's legacy is celebrated, a gift of practical beauty, compelling and enduring. Evenings linger softly over distant hills as twilight shades your village in molten hues. The celebration, magnetic in its allure, continues with unerring purposa, nostalgic echo of Saturnalian joy reaching its climax. Your sense of satisfaction is threefold: content within the role you play, fulfilled by connections forged amid life's jubilant pursuit, and gratified at love, kindled within the craft well shared. As festival guests retire reluctantly into night's embrace, the shadows draw waltzing dreams through silvered dusk. There arises a sense of wistful contentment, resonating in the marrow of cobbler's bones as keys draw metal's final cadence. With summer's heart captured ideable, festival holds still fast as autumn whispers close. The cobbler pledges another shoeless endeavor, while dusk remains naught but faint, whispered, kindred laughter, ringed like inward gems upon fortune's sphere. Celebrations find final notes. Entwined among sleepers' gardens stumbled slow, while stories drift amid gentle echo inscribed yet footloose upon life's endless dreams. As the seasons gently unfold from the exuberance of summer into the subtle whispers of autumn, a different kind of beauty captures the villager's imagination. Feminine footwear, designed with elegance and grace, takes its place in the limelight. The demand for women's shoes evolves with the intricate patterns of fashion and societal expectations, drawing you into a world where delicacy walks hand in hand with strength. The nuanced art of crafting feminine footwear requires your keenest precision and creative flair. These shoes need not only support the wearer's posture under the flowing veils of formal gowns, but also encapsulate the soft grace each woman seeks to project. In fabricating these delicate works, you traverse a tapestry where seams interlock with expectations, each pair an ode to the feminine form and spirit. Within the sanctum of your workshop, you pore over designs, leather, and the finest fabrics sourced amid the rustle of silk's delicate embrace. Your hands move with deft assurance, fingers coaxing tender materials into elegant shapes that echo the shifting silhouettes of nature, the arch of a swan's neck, the curve of a leaf caught mid-fall. Embroidered accents, in hues that range from soft pastels to rich pigments echoing the earth, are added with care to highlight and celebrate the uniqueness of every wearer. Every pair crafted carries a lineage of love and stories that threads through the very fabric of femininity itself. Women's shoes become manifest storious treasures of memory, crystallized at life's special moments, whether expressed in dancing standards or whispered secrets cloaked beneath velvet's custodian sheath. Historians still debate the impact of fashion trends on medieval women's footwear. Did they emulate the styles from centuries past, or look ahead, fomenting change and progress? The truth is observed in each creation you bring forth, celebrating womanhood's dance with both reverence and invention. Among the reverent, brides who approach you with dreams of shoes that glide gracefully across church aisles and banquet halls, reflecting the cascade of new beginnings in harmony with ceremonious vows. Each pair tends gently to questions unspoken and stories unfolding amid tightly woven friendships, carrying love's whisper long after ceremonial veils descend. The villagers bring tales like offerings, saturating the air with warmth and laughter. Young women eager to attend their first seasonal ball seek the timeless elegance of shoes that combine comfort with style. Creations that whisper confidence, slender heels cradled with delicate craftsmanship, providing buoyancy as they embrace the dance floor canvas for youthful exuberance unfolding amid autumnal glow. In these moments, humor illuminates the process with its playful companions. You recall one occasion when the mischievous hands of a young prankster inverted the order of shoe sizes, creating a temporary snicker amid the village. Yet, even before frustration could settle, it transformed into laughter as villagers recanted stories of errant shoes at unexpected events, drawing forth enduring merriment. Over the course of each project, your days buzz with anticipation, yet within workshops settled in quietude, a deeper energy tempts you beyond doubt. Here, dreams commence of artistic labors trundled painstakingly toward beauty, dancing openly beside the bosom of the divine. Encounters that adorn experience over length's breadth see fruitage unburdened, despite care's willing constancy. Yet making women's shoes is not solely an exercise in refinish, but an evolving narrative of nurturing individuality. Within each foot is a tale uniquely its own, and joining to life's great design without fear of expression unfettered. As each new dawn captures essence newly engaged, so too do your hands craft threads spun anew, harmonizing with life and nature's rhythms, unrestrained by fate's command. And so the feminine beauty steps forth, radiantly alive, in a world both changing and immovable. It leaves footprints not only in the delicate patterns carved from elegant soling, but in the warmth of fellowship shared. Each shoe becomes an unspoken promise to the wearer, and a cherished memory carried forward etched upon dusty roads, shaded by elm of ancient reverence. Thus is born another testament to shoemaker's conscience arch, guided firm by faith's shrouded wings, trailing toward dusk's dissolve. Here, within shadowed looms carrying upon shoulders tide, you lay these treasures bared within twinning's freshly embossed palsy-embracing truth, bound alongside devotion's cohort. Let each tick of time resound. These skilled endeavors echo far beyond common earth, with every seam and bounding measure, for humanity's enduring story rewinds to cast its shadow-some melody, woven long through ages, embraced kindly within shoemakers, gentle lines spoken loud, like love's tender grace, forever shared. As the village transitions from the flourishing season of summer into the brisk embrace of autumn, your attention shifts to a particular comfort that children offer, the fresh perspective found through crafting shoes that cradle young feet as they dance, explore, and grow. The art of making children's footwear embodies not just practicality, but the cherished innocence and boundless curiosity found in each stride taken towards the future. In your workshop, the creation of children's shoes speaks to the heart, a gentle reminder of life's cyclical nature. Each pair is a promise of protection and possibility, nurturing tiny steps with care. With every stitch, you imagine paths uncharted and adventures unlimited, shoes becoming vessels for exploring the vast tapestry of the world. Crafting these miniature creations is an exercise in precision and patience. The leather, softer and more pliable than its grown-up counterparts, allows tenderness to shape its form, echoing the youthful spirit it shall soon accompany. Delicate motifs and colourful embellishments adorn the shoes, inviting smiles and capturing the whimsy inherent in a child's unfiltered view of life. Designing for young explorers means embracing both functionality and charm. The gossamer ties, bound securely yet playfully like a daydream woven into existence, ensure shoes stay snug despite spirited adventures through the village or the verdant meadows beyond. Sturdy soles provide balance and durability, prepared to tackle all manner of terrains from the garden's soft earth to the cobblestones echoing with laughter. Amidst this task, a wave of nostalgia occasionally settles across your mind, like dust motes dancing through a sunbeam, moments when even veteran cobblers reminisce about childhood wanderlust and love's simple, grasping crossroads to beloved futures past. Historians debate the significance of children's shoes in medieval society. Were they simply scaled, down versions of adult footwear, or did they hold unique cultural importance? For you, the answer lies in every pair. Crafted a testament that balances innocence with responsibility, destiny with delight, anchoring children to traditions even as they stride into the unknown. Customers arrive, their arms weighted with bundles of wool and woven toys, eager to clothe growing feet in the colourful wonders crafted by skillful hands. Mothers share tales of their little ones' escapades while selecting the right shoe, engaging your expertise as a shoemaker and your empathy as a fellow traveller on life's winding paths. There is humour, too, in this parade of youthful chaos. You chuckle at the youngster who insists on shoes for trees rather than feet, envisioning vast arboreal realms in playful tantrums. In these moments, you become a magician, weaving laughter into the very stitchestries told between sighs and ingenious solutions concocted from a cobbler's mind. In practice, you may hide small treasures within the shoes a jingle bell or colourful charm-encouraging giggles with each step taken. They become keepsakes for the children, who see such additions as magical, animated confidants of treasure maps laced with moss and mystery. From brightly festooned boots for puddles ripe with adventure to tiny slippers for festival eves, each pair serves as a conduit between imagination and reality. The stories told beneath the soles conjure lessons learned through innocence and echoed still beneath moon-kissed skies. Evenings spent stitching new dreams into shoes awaken memories of communal companionship with colleagues sharing late-night banter over steaming mugs. Together, your laughter rises with the stars as smoke-kissed hearths embolden visions and conquer tomorrow's challenges painted in resolute hues. Through each creation, you understand that children's shoes point feet toward horizons yet seen and beckon when spirit seeks melody. You create stepping stones to guide fledgling aspirations tended by dreams newly embraced, still unspoken but crafted eagerly amidst warmth and wish. Overall, children's shoes are more than transitional objects of comfort and necessity. They are tokens of familial love, bound tightly with laughter's embrace. Through children's eyes, the world finds new illumination, fresh footsteps treading paths enriched by stories etched and crafted along resilient journeys. Thus, on bed's feathery and reticent side dreams recesses tireless wind-bound tales afield. Wisely resting determined souls obliged yet free within cradle gentle reach. Shoemakers reforge, promises now told unyielding where dawn finds dreams strewn gaily, yet newly reborn. Shoemakers lasting tribute, honoured yet anew. As autumn's golden cloak begins to settle into the chill of winter, and the village quietly brims with the anticipation of hearthside gatherings, your thoughts naturally drift toward legacy. The craft of shoemaking has been your life's pursuit, and as your hands, once nimble and strong, now show signs of time's persistent touch, the question arises: who shall wield the awl and harness the hammer when your journey gently winds down? Passing down the awl is an intimate act, one that transcends mere inheritance or tradition. It is about selecting the right steward for a craft that is as old as humanity's desire to wander and seek. The tools, worn by countless hours of dedicated work, are imbued with the stories and whispers of artisans long past, their spirits infused in the wood's grains and metal's sheen. As an elder statesman of your craft, you watch keenly those young apprentices who bustle about your workshop, eyes wide with the enthusiasm of youth. Among them, you seek not just skill but a soul, kindred to the call of cobbling, the gentle yet discerning eye that sees shoes not just as objects, but as companions on life's uncertain journey. Historians still debate whether the passing of craftsmanship was more formalized guild tradition or a deeper, soul-driven baptism. Did it reside only in hands, or within heart's tempo gently purposed? For you, it's a solemn and tender ritual, entwined with humanity's dancer reunion, where echoes of familial praise and whispers from time's passage harmonize in the overlapping smile of a shared future. Within your workshop, the sensation is palpable. This duality of progression and nostalgia. Each tool you cherish holds a story, preserved in its rust and sheen, narrating moments of triumph, lessons learned, and the camaraderie of shared endeavor. As you mentor an apprentice, these stories bleed into new hands, fingers tracing delicately across leather as words of guidance enhance the journey. In these moments, humor finds its subtle presence, ensuring smiles break into what might otherwise become the solemnity of passage. Jokes about impressing the awl into warrior's spear, or laces coiled with mischievous serpents lighten hearts. The apprentices, buoyed by their own visions, bring modern jest to ancient task, humoured by leather that echoes brightly across sun-aged chambers. Training apprentices involves more than technique. It involves nurturing the essence of culture, humanity imparting the values inherently woven into cobbler's life. As they learn the delicate dance between material, shape, and function, you witness their burgeoning confidence, their growing understanding of the shoemaker's role, not just as craftsman, but storyteller, keeper of an eternal flame. Trust melds with tender pride when one, with hands now steady across unfamiliar tools, stands before you. They create shoes that resonate, beyond expectation, with gracier testament both independent and coherent. Each keen insight and correction have matured into guiding principle, a legacy now tangible. Throughout this process, you remind yourself it's not the transfer of tools that matters most, but the spirit in which guidance is given and stories shared. When the time comes for you to entrust the essence of your craft to the next generation, it is an offering wrapped in laughter's warmth and dedication's fervent pulse. The villagers gather by hearths to share tales of lives once straddled by work and mirth. Behind towering fires, voices explore wooded pathways tended soft into night-laden breaths each soul can define. Reflected warmth kisses the shoemaker's spirit, a grace unerring of promise held gently within humanity's embrace. In that final passage of the awl, the symbolic next chapter for the journeyman, you pass more than tools. You pass memory and tradition, hopes cast among netted wisps binding artisans with shared paths. Resilience finds itself reiterated in youth, a pursuit realized as shoemaker's heritage stands timeless. Shadows of the past reach quietly, only to find boots newly fitted, not only secure but spirited forward, eager to dance within tomorrow's frame. In the passage of craft, of tools, light and shadow align, forging cobbler's legacy anew beneath starlit canopy expansive. Threads unite through tend purposa journey, embarked full yet poised, unifying humanity's richly bound story beneath celestial quietude. Thus, your role within this unparalleled history quietly shifts, whispering toward gentle coda graven. Under the watchful light of stars eternally spinning, the shoemaker emerges tethered to life's weaving, its infinite potential drawn gently forward, awaiting discovery in the echoes of footfalls not yet taken. And so, the journey approaches its final stretch, the rhythm of the village slowing ever so gently as dusk breathes its soothing balm over cobblestones and rooftops alike. The shoemaker's life, seasoned with tales of resilience, creativity, and a steadfast dedication to craft, is now a rich tapestry complete with both colorful and muted threads. It's a legacy passed down gracefully, an echo resounding softly in the hallowed halls of memory. The evening air, cool with the crispness of approaching winter, gently envelops you as you stand outside your workshop for a moment, inhaling the tranquility. Your heart beats in time with the symphony of crickets and the distant murmur of the village settling into night, a lullaby wrapped in deepening shadows. There is a comfort in this stillness, a promise that the stories you've shaped will wend their way on paths you may never tread, but have certainly charted. In this peaceful pause, your thoughts embrace the journey, You reflect on the sunrises that cast golden promises across your bench, the laughter shared amid comrades and apprentices, and the shoes that travelled far beyond the village's embrace. Each triumph and trial, every whisper of creativity and knowledge, have layered themselves into a life intimately intertwined with craft. It's a mosaic formed from countless moments, each step along the way, a quietly resounding testament to endurance and passion. Your hands, now lingered with experience, trace the contours of your familiar tools, the awl and hammer gleaming softly in the dying light. They carry the marks of decades past, enshrined with stories whispered gently by hands that will soon follow a separate path. There's a peaceful acceptance here, knowing that what has been laid down will be gathered carefully by those you've nurtured, breathing life anew into the rhythms of the shoemaker's world. As night deepens, you turn back inside to find warmth by the hearth, where the embers glow like the hearts of old friends, their flickering silhouettes weaving intricate tales across the stone walls. The flames' gentle whispers thaw memories, sparking dreams of distant lands or beloved faces, entwining them with cherished friendships and laughter that have stretched across the years. It's a communion with time itself, the fire singing a harmonious lullaby that lulls you into tranquility. The community, now resting after the day's labours, holds onto its heart bruised and brimming, the ties of shared histories bound firmly, yet with space enough for new dreams to wander in. Here, illuminated by the warmth of candlelight and camaraderie, you feel gratitude swelling softly. This village, this beautiful family of kindred spirits, stands as the canvas upon which stories told and untold continue to weave their gentle legacy. With each passing star sewn into the night sky's tapestry, your footsteps trace a familiar path toward rest. And as you close your eyes, embracing the velvety dark, your thoughts ripple softly like echoes through a forest grove, carrying hope and hope softly like moths between the pillars of trees. In these quiet breaths lies assurance for the future, that the steps you've guided will prosper, upheld by love and a spirit unyielding. Here, at the gentle close of your narrative, time softly expands, echoing the shoemaker's hand through life's passage, writing a shared story of a world patiently nurtured. It's a gift eternal, passed from soul to soul across generations, where each footfall becomes a herald of dreams and legacy, touched lightly by leather's hands and whispered beneath the ever-turning wheel of time. As you slip further into the embrace of gentle slumber, stars twinkle softly in the firmament, ever watchful, cradling the world in their infinite embrace. The journey ahead, vast and tender, awaits to unfurl at the dawn's breaking light. Together, we drift upon this dream's tide, promising new adventures and memories yet untold. Sweet dreams.